Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. I'm really bloody excited about this one. We've just been speaking for about half an hour, maybe an hour. I hope we've still got stuff in the tank.
Oh, all sorts. We've got plenty, mate.
This is a huge guest. He's not big, he's not tall, but he's fucking mint. So I'm buzzing for this, mate. I have got Owen Oxley from Full Reptile.
I didn't realise it was that big.
Owen, before we go into Full Reptile, we're going to the fucking shit the world's in at the minute and just a load of stuff, conspiracies, I suspect, or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell me about childhood, because I suspect you're somebody that got in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Oh, mate, yeah.
That's all in my head.
I was a naughty kid. Is that what you're looking for?
I introduce Owen, and I thought, I want to know about him as a kid, because I expect that you went through a lot of shit. I don't know why. It's because of your persona you've got, and I'm very inspired by you.
It's because I failed everything, and that's normally the start of my story. Hey, kids, if you fuck up, don't worry, because I made it.
Look at this guy. He knows what he's on about. Honestly, man, you are like a mentor to me. Like, I've been to see you a few times now, and I just sit there with, like, wide-eyed gooey, like... He's amazing. He's got his shit together. How did you do it?
The thing is, to me, it's just a lot of lessons that essentially I learn by doing. So I've been very fortunate that most things that I've learned has been through practical, like, just doing stuff. So even the industry I'm in now, if you told me to write it down, you ain't got a fucking hope. If you asked me to act it out really in the medium of dance... I could talk about t-shirts all day. Like if I can be there to sell it, oh mate, I've got it all. I've got it rocking, no problem. But that started as being a kid. Like I was just a little fuckhead. And well, I've got 3 little brothers and an older sister. I know I told you earlier. And me and my sister used to fight like cat and dog because I mean my mum and dad split up when I was about 4, and so it was like. And that was when divorce wasn't cool. Yeah. So, like, it wasn't mad popular back in the day.
Cool? Oh, fuck when everyone was doing it, yeah.
Most people now, it's like...
That looks like a thing.
Yeah, well, I pick my kids up...
And have to be with her forever.
No, exactly. I pick my kids up from school and they go... And, like, their friend will go, my dad's picking me today.
Oh, yeah.
Now my mum's picking me today. And it kind of breaks my heart because I've been there. I know how that feels. And obviously, I've been with my wife now, 22 years. So...
Yeah, man. Nice.
I mean, she's a warrior, and she probably deserves way better. But this is what she landed with, and she's committed, so that's good. But all that it ever was just fighting. We just fucked with each other. Like Mum's house in Duffield's got this really big, grand entrance, and you go up the main stairs, and we used to call it the landing. So you go on the landing, and there was like my sister's bedroom to the left, my mum's bedroom to the right, a really long corridor that we thought was haunted that I can tell you about in a bit.
Okay.
And then that had 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Bathroom, incidentally, was made out of cork. So...
What do you mean?
So the whole floor, walls and everything were cork as in out of a wine bottle.
Out of a wine bottle. That's what I had in my head, but I was like, it doesn't mean... It can't mean that.
Then it had a navy bathroom suite. So a toilet, a bidet, a wash and basin, and a shower and a bath with bright gold taps that said penthouse suite on them. And my dad's a joiner. He's a builder and a joiner. So when they bought the house, he installed all like the very best next level like dogs do dapper don shit in this fucking bathroom. The only thing was, as a kid, because it was cork, it wasn't that heavy. So the magnet on the like airing cupboard door was kind of weak because the corridor of the house, it had a big window that looked down the garden to... My mum's garden's fucking huge. And it went on to the back where there was a train that used to go across the back to Duffield Station. And my friend next door, James Patrick, a fucking arsehole, when he was a couple of years older than me.
All had a mate like that.
Mate, he was like a brother to me, to be fair, but honestly, he fucked with us. He looked at the train timetable, realised there was a train at, say, midnight, and he'd say, mate, go down to the bathroom, leave the light off, and at midnight, the ghost train comes. And I was like, fuck off. And he's like, trust me, you'll see the lights. And it comes and it drops the spirits off. They have to get a fucking train, right?
Yeah.
To Duffield. Yeah. They get a train to the station. They don't just like morph through the wall. They get on this train, fuck off all the way to the station and go, all right, we're going back here by 6, yeah? Like a fucking road trip. And bear in mind, 7 or 8 year old me's like, I'll be all right.
Let's still live normal life. But...
Shit my pants. And bear in mind, the airing cupboard door used to open itself.
Oh, mate.
Because of just the natural wind in the house and the air and all the rest of it. But because it's down this long, dark corridor, you used to shit your pants because of the fucking, well, because people were telling me stories. That linked with the fact I was wearing shell suit bottoms one day when they were big. And I ran from the bathroom to the landing.
Was it every time you had to peg it?
But because my legs are rubbing together, they go, and it's like someone's chasing me even faster. I don't know if you've shit your pants in a pair of shell suit bottoms, but it's not pretty. So there was that, and then my sister was constantly fucking with me, and my friend used to come around, Dylan, and he was like the coolest kid I knew. He had an older brother who now works for Element, you know, the skate brand.
Yeah.
So Dylan's got this fucking amazing bespoke, like, I can't remember the name of it, but he makes like woven rugs and really nice shit. But I mean, we fell out of touch, but we were really, really close.
Yeah.
So we used to look up to him because he had his older brother, Ray, who's now the guy working for Element, and they're both really cool dudes. And me and Dylan were at my house and we were playing guns in the house. And then my sister got involved.
Playing guns?
Yeah, toy guns.
Yeah, I get you.
We weren't like 25.
Yeah.
We were like 9.
The Bronx.
Yeah. So we were playing guns and my sister got involved because she didn't have a friend around that time. And there's no internet and there's only 4 channels on the telly. So she's like, I want to come and pester you lot. So basically, we started this bit of a turf war between bedrooms, which got out of hand real fucking quick. Because I went downstairs to get us a drink, came up and Dylan had a bit of a fight with her. So she fucked off to her bedroom, got a briefcase because she'd just started secondary school. So she'd have been 11, I was 9. Filled the briefcase with every single book that she had, locked it, held it over the banister, called me upstairs.
Oh my God.
So I'm running upstairs and she's like, whoa, wait there. Look up. I went like that, and she just dropped this whole briefcase on my head. And I was like, and the thing is, as a kid, you bounce, don't you? So I was like, you're going to get fucking hurt now. And because she's a girl.
Did that not knock you out? Is that
mate,
game over for a bit?
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't fully like clink me, but it hit me hard enough.
Yeah.
But then we hid under her bed. So she went downstairs after we got the bollocking because we made too much noise and ripped the wallpaper. We got bollocking. So like my sister went and did something. So me and Dylan hid under the bed and we were there for about an hour and a half. And we waited and waited because obviously we're all obsessed with ghosts and scary shit at this point.
Right.
And we waited for her to come in. And as she came in, we both grabbed an ankle.
Shizzle, yeah.
Which what you'd want it to do is scare her to the point where she'd run off so we could now get out of this really small space. But what it actually did was it trapped us to a point where she could just kick us and stamp on our hands. So like we both went to school the next day, couldn't hold a pencil. Yeah, it looked like something off Ren and Stimpy after it'd been run over, and I was like, oh fuck. So it was just always just fucking about and just being a bit of an arse.
Did you ever have any like ghostly experiences though? Like was there anything that really made you feel that way, or how do you feel about spirits and ghosts now?
Yeah, I think there's something there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's the whole mediums with Derek Acora and all these other things, and there's bits and bobs, but
puts me off a bit that.
Yeah.
They always talk to like, it's always a celebrity though. It's not fucking Linda
thing.
down the road.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hang on, Michael Jackson, I think it is. It's a Michael, it's definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
is it Michael Jonathan Phillips, Stephen? Dave. Do you know what I mean? I had a reading done once, and I've got a really close friend, David, who is a counsellor by trade, but he's one of my closest friends, and he is my woosha.
Nice.
I just sit down and he just fucking calms me down. Like the whole time when I'm dealing with kids, I've got a 12 and 8-year-old, and it fucking fries my brain.
I can't imagine that with you. You seem like obviously so animated and out there, but you also seem so composed and together.
With most of, I like to think I'm a logical person.
Yeah.
But when someone winds me off the clock, trying to deny logic, it fucking breaks my brain.
I get that.
It's like the other day, my kid, they were like, what happened with Mo? With Libby. So the other morning, she was getting ready to go to school, and we were talking, and she was talking to the 3 dogs, and our 3 dogs are like 3 little dudes. They are a bigger part of the family as anyone else. And because Libby's really cheeky, and she's a bit like me, she always pushes the boundaries. And she turned around and she said something, and she was like, "Itch, Rich, you little bitch," or something like that. Now, I swear all the time because my dad did.
Yeah.
But because my dad did, and I was allowed to with my dad, I never did it in front of anyone I shouldn't. I didn't swear in front of my mom because I knew the rule set.
Yeah. You've got an understanding there. You built up that. Okay.
And it's kind of the same with my kids, because it's like they're not going to walk in and call someone a fucking dickhead. They're just going to say, "Oh, this really upset me."
They understand setting.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's That's how, because I've got a kid coming into the
Exactly,
world.
yeah,
And
mate.
I'm trying to piece out together, like, how am I going to do this and that?
You've got to teach them everything,
But
all
I'm listening here.
the
I
cool
told you,
shit.
you're my mentor.
That's it, but all the cool words. Like I was telling you in the house, I just taught Libby. We watched the film. I know I'm going off on a tangent. This is going to go all over the fucking place.
Go for it, brother.
We watched the Enola Holmes. So it's on Netflix. And basically, we like to sit down with the kids and we get a film that we try and engage them. Like it's either from the 80s, like we're either trying to force feed them Goonies or like Three Men and a Baby or some shit. We're just trying to feed them our shit just so they're on board, so they get our reference.
The Exorcist.
Which they do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Crocodile Dundee and The Exorcist, Dad. You're a dickhead. But basically, we sat down and we started watching this new film, which has got 11 out of Stranger Things, and it's brilliant. So it's always get some snacky snacks, sit on the settee, everyone's having a mooch, we just watch a bit of telly. So he puts it on. Basically, the setup is Enola Holmes is Sherlock's little sister that he doesn't really know. She's been brought up by her mum. Her mum's fucked off to teach her like, how to be on her own, because Enola backwards is alone, whatever, which is cool.
Yeah, here we go.
So then Sherlock and his brother, I can't remember his name. He's not mad famous, is he? It's just like, do you know what I mean?
The other guy.
It's not like Ben and Jerry's. What's Ben and Jerry's other brother called? Steve. What the fuck's he doing? So Sherlock comes back and he's a bit of a pimp, very debonair, and like he's almost looking through this Enola kid. Whereas the younger brother or the older brother, I can't remember his name, he's a bit of a dickhead. And he's a bit of an arse. He doesn't want to be there. No, not at all. And he's wearing a top hat. And he walks in and he's just being a bit of a dick to this poor little girl. And Libby turned to me and went, Dad, I've got a feeling about him. No, I don't like him. Just something about him. And because she'd always hear us watching films, and we watch a lot of like crime dramas and shit. We're always trying to work it out. It's him. The film's on in like 3 seconds. It's him. It's like, it's a fucking producer, or it's an advert. It's like some fucking Renault advert. It's like that's the guy. So we watch.
Come back round. Next season.
You watch.
Yeah.
So she sat there and she says, "Yeah, I'm not feeling this top hat." And I said, "Well, you know what that means, because you've just called him a top hat." And she went, "No." I said, "Well, it means twat." And the thing is, I've got no problem saying that, because I know she's not going to then march across the living room going, twat, twat, twat. I can say twat. She went, ah. But the worst thing is now she can use it in context. Like there'll be some guy, I was driving the other day and he cut me up and he was an absolute dickhead. And she went, Dad, top hat.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
oh mate, that's beautiful.
all day.
Yeah.
She's not swearing.
You've got your code built together, man. That's ace.
Don't tell Nana this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what was I even saying?
Blimey, you were talking about watching this.
Swearing.
The swearing.
Yeah. And
this is where it's going to go in all over.
I can't remember what I was saying. There's something about being a kid, swearing, encouraging my... It's letting my kids know the rules.
In context as well.
Yes.
Because for me, I was a kid and my dad, like, they tried to build a taboo around swearing, and they're like, don't let him swear, but then I'd go and swear, and then they try and like, don't give it engagement. If he swears, if he starts saying fuck, dick, whatever, let him do it, but don't engage.
No.
But I think that balance of actually talking to Libby, having a conversation, going, that's top hat and that means twat, but you can say it in this situation or say it here, but when you're in school, maybe don't call the teacher top hat or whatever.
And that's kind of cool.
Conversations,
I'd rather them know everything. I'm not saying like fucking Al Qaeda attacks and I'm going to sit them down and go, right, this is specifically why they've done this and why they're a bit vexed because of this. Like there's certain elements, and I think it's just everyday life.
Take away all the layers of why Al Qaeda are the way they are. It's like, let's not go down that rabbit hole. But like, we'll have these conversations when they emerge, just when she's had that like top hat situation.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're super inquisitive, and like I say, my mum and dad split up when I was young. So my dad, when I went round, my dad's from Sheffield, really rough end of Sheffield. And he came over and met a guy called Doug that essentially turned into my granddad. It was like, he basically adopted my dad, brought him over, set him up. He was a fucking legend, like the best guy you've ever met. But my dad he still had that rough diamond. Whereas my mum, she was from Holbrook. And she had quite a sheltered upbringing, and like, it was very different.
Right.
But if I'd have said to my mum, like, we used to watch Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
And obviously, you remember in Red Dwarf where they call him like a smeghead or something. And I go, oh, Mum, what's smeg? And she's like, I don't know. Just literally, don't know. She told me that a twat is a pregnant goldfish.
Yeah.
So to me, I was then walking around going, oh, well, you're a twat. You're a twat. You're a twat. She's like, oh, well, don't say it. I was like, but it's a pregnant goldfish.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fucking stupid. So then, like, when I go with my dad, and it was always, you could swear it was fine. Like, not around the house and not at christening. But when I say what's smeg, like, they'd fully break it down and go, it's this. Wash your dick.
Because,
Do you know what I mean?
But there's some times in life where swearing is just fucking perfect for that moment. It's like, I've got a mate, he's called Sting, and he's the calmest guy ever, and then in this band, and he never swear. You wouldn't imagine him to say booter goose and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, he's calm, but he's very intelligent, very cool guy. And there was this one time where something happened. I can't for the life of remember what happened. It was like somebody threw a stone when they shouldn't, and it hit a car window, and I think it smashed. I think it was that. But he just went, fucking hell. And I remember everyone's just like, that was so unexpected.
Yeah.
It was the best moment.
Where did that come from?
He doesn't swear, he's not supposed to swear, and everyone's just dying with laughter.
But that moment takes
and
that, doesn't it?
Killing it, but it's like, that's warranted that.
Yeah.
So one more other one's like in my favourite band, The Streets.
Yeah, yeah.
Mike Skinner. But in Dry Your Eyes, Mate, and that song to me, I think I've mentioned it about 1 million times on this podcast.
Carry on.
Just love it. But when he doubles up with the fucking, he goes, I'm not just going to fucking leave it all now. And you're like, oh, he means that.
Yeah.
He's had a breakup and he's felt it, and it hurts him so much. He couldn't have said flipping, or he couldn't have said bloody.
But it's also just a word.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of what...
You give them power when you cower.
But you're also giving words power.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
for me,
what I
like,
mean.
if we said flunky spoosh is now as bad as saying the C-bomb...
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. You can't comprehend that because it's not been there for that long.
And especially when you go to Australia, I lived there for a year, and everyone's just like, he's a fucking good cunt, he is. And you're just like, that's brilliant. I want to be called that. That
because
makes me feel good.
Right, and it takes the power out of something. Because then it's not like your missus will go,
oh, for their own. Yeah. He's a what? He's a good what?
He just said cunt.
Yeah.
How dare... And the thing is, I swear and the main thing that I'm conscious about when I do our podcast is Dan's mum.
Right, okay.
And we've not ever spoke about it. She's not ever had a word. She's not ever slapped my legs. But I respect her so much, and I love the family so much that, like, I'll say something sometimes, and I'll be like, "Oh fuck!" I hope they're not listening to this.
Definitely watching.
I'm just going to see her one day. She's going to knitting needle me in the throat and be like, "Stop telling me son stupid shit." Yeah. But I think that's the problem. Is it's the power of words with everything, and it's either down to religion, racism, whatever it is. But it just frustrates me, and I'm a big believer. It's almost the South Park rule that if you involve everyone and you insult everyone equally, it's the same. Like, it doesn't matter who you said what to.
Smooths out that level of
for real.
Field, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just this is what I was going back to, because I know that you were saying about me being quite chill, and I think it's the logic side of things. And I was telling the story about Libby saying bitch in the morning.
Yeah.
And the problem was because all I heard was bitch. I was like, bro, what are you doing? She was like, I didn't. I said, beg your pardon. And she's like, I didn't say it. I was like, fuck, mate. Well, you did.
Yeah.
And that's where my brain goes. I can go from being the most zen, chilled Matthew McConaughey.
Because then we'll talk about your mate who sends you out.
Yeah. And she said it. And I was like, it's no problem that you've said it, but you just kind of didn't need to say it. So just talk to me about what's gone off, because I don't want to make an issue of it. It was more that her sister picked up and was like, Daddy, Libby's just said bitch. And I'm like, I know she did. And then she's like, no, I didn't. Like,
the denial of it.
I can't stand lying. Like, you could slap me in the face and shit on my dog, but tell me you don't turn around and go, and like literally while you're crowning it out, go, I didn't do it.
It was my evil twin brother. He ran down the road.
But that happens. And it's
100%.
just cod shit. I massively work on just be dead straight with me. And I mean, like I was saying before, I've been married 22 years, and one of the biggest things that me and Stacey had initially, and I think this is a lady logic, and this isn't me being sexist in any stretch, because most people I've spoke to have got this same thing, but there'll be a time when you upset your missus, and you're desperately trying to work out what the fuck you've done.
Yeah.
And they end up going, well, you did this, but I don't feel like I should have to ask.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
Are you fucking mad?
Oh, mate. I mean, I'm blessed now. I've got Chrissy, and she's an angel. Do you know when people say my better half?
Yeah, man.
Fucking hell.
Same.
We read it now, we're like, oh, she really is the better half.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
But I have had it in the past where, and I don't want to be mean to these people, we were both growing up, we're both young-minded, both had our insecurities, but you know for a fact you've done something to piss them off.
Yeah.
And you have to go and endure 4, 5, 6, maybe a whole day
of
just shit and just like downplay and just tedious, like
creeping, everything,
giving you one-word
Mate.
answers, and then you're just like, "Do you want a cuppa? Do you want anything?" And then the next day they're like, "Oh yeah, it's when you said that thing." You're like, "We could have done this like 24 hours ago.
And I wasn't even talking about you, dickhead.
We could have resolved it then, but
Yeah,
they just want you to feel that pain for a while. And I think women, and it's not being sexist, but to say, I've heard this in a Joe Rogan, it made so much sense to me, but to say men and women are the same is like saying a cat and a dog are the same a lot of the time. If you throw a ball for a cat, it's not going to go and fetch it.
No.
And they do internalise stuff.
And if it
more.
does, that's a weird cat.
The thing is,
Do you know what I mean?
But some cats will maybe.
Yeah.
And there are different examples, and people are very different. But on the whole, we've got a genetic makeup, we've got our brains working in certain ways. And for me, like, women do internalize things more, and they do like have a sense, not a sensitive streak, because I'm sensitive.
I am.
But they learn to play it in here more and hold it off, where guys are like, let's have it out, let's tell you what you've done, you pissed me off in this way.
I just think we're different, but the problem is you can only go through what your own experiences are. So like I say, I've only ever been with Stace. I met Stace when I was 17. She was 16.
Wow.
So it's like...
You don't hear many of them stories, mate.
Nah, but 22 years, like, there's stuff that I've done that fucking winds her off the clock. She could murder me easily. But that's in a 22-year span. Whereas, like, realistically, without her, I'd be fucked. I'd be dead or in prison. I know I would. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am. Genuinely. So I know I can freely say that she's done this in the past that's fucking blown my mind. But it's not that she was trying to fuck me off when we were 19. But it's just the experiences I've had when dealing with different ladies around the world. It seems to be that's more of a trigger. Whereas, like, even when I'm talking to my brothers or friends or whatever, I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, what? You did that? It's like, oh shit, sorry, my bad. You go, yeah, don't worry about it. But because I don't want to feel hurt, or I don't want to feel frustrated or drag something out. I just want to go, bang. Like, my way of dealing with something is just talk it out, because a lot of the time there's just an explanation.
It's quite a masculine way of dealing with that.
Yeah, whereas,
I do. I think that's where we've had such a peak and an uprise in mental health in young women because of social media. They can be a bit more secretive of how they go about their anger, because it's shown that women and men are equally angry, but men in the past, or boys, used to be able to go out and just thrash it out and be angry. Girls had to internalise it but didn't have anywhere to channel it. But then when they've got social media now, they can go into someone's DMs so easily, and they can be quite vicious and nasty through a secretive passage. And that's supposed to be, anyway. I've watched a cool podcast and the Social Dilemma recently. That was trying to explain why the uprise in female mental health has been just absolutely peaked at the minute, and that's a part of it.
I think that's mental health across the board, because a lot of the times it's when people say it's okay to not be okay. Which to me is a big thing, because, like, I was blessed with 2 little girls. I was convinced I was going to have sons. I don't know why. I think it's because in my side of the family there's a lot of lads. And Stacey's side, it's pretty much split. Lads. So, like, Moo was called Ray Ray for the first 9 months. We thought he was going to be a boy.
Really?
Popped out, it's a girl. You're like, fair enough. And
What is that?
what's these bits? But she's still, like, I got her straight into fighting, Nerf guns, Scare Electric, Lego, everything I wanted. So people would say, do you not want a boy? I'm like, no, I'm good, man. But looking at the world through different eyes, because being a white man in the UK, there's a certain privilege to that, which you don't even acknowledge, because you've got it. You don't, like, think, oh, well, this is different, because it's just the fucking norm. But now when I'm seeing my little girls growing up, and I see how girls getting treated, it almost makes me want them to be twice as prepared, because I didn't need my dad to send me to, like, jiu-jitsu classes or to Thai boxing or to learn how to use nunchucks or how to do whatever, because I was kind of all right. I was in that safe zone of that little crispy white bubble. Whereas even though these are little girls, there's a fucking shark tank out there just waiting to either be a bitchy girl to get her claws in or so. Like, for example, my eldest was being bullied. I was bullied. I fucking hate bullies, because
worst thing ever, man.
They're just fucking, honestly, dickheads. Like, the problem is that the worst thing is,
was it one bully? Was it the guy you got in my fucking hate him.
But the amount of times I'll either see them people now and they're like, they're trying to be super cool, and obviously there's that whole cliche of, like, well, what's happening? Their dad's beating them up and, like, raping his tortoise and stupid shit. You're like, right.
Oh, that poor tortoise. Get off of Johnny.
That's happened. Johnny Longdick. So I know there's always a story, but then I always thought to myself, when I'm older, if my kid gets bullied, I'm going to invite the bully round. Come and have tea. And then I'm going to make them feel really fucking horrible. Now, being a 15-year-old kid thinking that in the future is different to being a 35-year-old dad now looking at this like 8-year-old girl at a table thinking, right, dickhead, I'm going to chop your fucking fingers off. Because you can't do that. You can't lock them in a shed. Do you know what I mean? So we had this experience where Moo wouldn't go to school, physically sick, couldn't eat anything, couldn't drink anything. It was terrifying. And I mean, she got to the point where I was at the hospital with her, sat for like 3 or 4 hours. And she literally couldn't keep anything down. The doctor said, there's nothing wrong. I went, well, there fucking is. And eventually she said, oh yeah, this girl's picking on me. Yeah. And I was like, all right, okay. Well,
my dad thing.
Nice. I'm fucking, this is like an engaged dad card. So basically we found out who it was. She didn't say she'd been physical, but she said she's been really nasty. And obviously this, after you've experienced this like 2 weeks of hell with your little girl, then you're ready to kill everyone. Like you're working out how much time you're going to do.
Was she always really happy-go-lucky?
Always,
like just
always,
there.
like Zebedee. She's fucking bouncing to school, happy. And the problem was this girl that was bullying her. She's like a head and shoulders taller than her, a lot bigger, a lot thicker set. Because my little girl, she's tiny. Yeah. And it was one of them where I think it was just.
Even you, when you got there, were like, "Fuck you."
All right, big deal. But it's more the circumstance, I think, of that she might have tried to bully her and realised she had an impact and was like, "Oh, fucking, I'm going to carry on." And I think that happens a lot. But I basically found out who it was and just started knocking on doors till I found them.
Really?
And my intention was, I'm not saying that I was going full like Taken.
So what do you mean, like literally, like down the?
I knew roughly where they were.
You have an idea where she was.
Does such and such live here? You want down there, dear? Does such and such live here? Next door, mate. No fucking worries.
Please tell me you took a crowbar with you.
Mate, I was fist clenched, just thinking, as soon as I open that door, I'm going to fucking lay this guy out.
Yeah.
And because in my head, all I'm thinking is there's an underlying reason for why this kid is such a little thundercon that they need a kicking. And even if they watch me beat the shit out of the dad, you're fucking next. I'm not going to touch him, but at least they know. Like, and anyone who's got kids will, like, if anyone's offended, I don't think anyone will be offended by this, but they'll know that's your fucking baby.
My Ella's not, she's got 3 weeks still and not been born, but I feel it now. While you're talking it, I'm like, no one's going to hurt her though.
It takes you straight back to Lion King. Do you know what I mean? This is fully.
It means something.
Exactly. So this woman opened the door, and I'm stood like 2 steps down. I went, all right, you don't know me, I don't know you. Your daughter's bullying my daughter. I need to sort it. She went, I'm so sorry. Wait there. She went bonkers at her daughter. Came out to me and went, listen, this has happened before. She's got an older sister. Now, at the time, she would say 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So her sister was 16. So she's looking up to her sister. She's obviously taking beatings off her sister, or she's having that physical altercation with an older kid. So when a 9-year-old tries to stand up to her, she ain't going to give a fuck. But this energy in me that thinking, I'm going to fucking hurt someone. And then they're not there to be hurt. I was like, she was like, I'm ever so sorry. Is there anything I do? I was like, thank you very much. See you later.
Oh, wow.
But I kind of fuming, and then at least I realised I'm not going to serve time now. But I just went home, and it was cleared up immediately.
Really?
But there's something about that fucking, you know, when you just want to
build it up in your head.
Of course you do.
You?
Well, I'm just thinking of different scenarios. Like, how can she pay the mortgage from prison?
Yeah.
Oh, she can sell that. She can sell my roller skates. I've got an 18-figure collection.
Turn this back on. The amount of times I've literally had in my head, like the amount of scenarios I'm going to do to somebody, and then the time comes and it's like we end up best mates and we go to the pub together. And
this is it.
It's like, hang on, you're not a bad lad. We just needed to talk it out.
Yeah, and that happens a lot.
It made me laugh so much there because I've had it too many times where I've built up, I'm going to kill this person.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the time it's that talking, and I don't mean like a James Bond villain thing where he's going to tell you his whole plan, and then you're going to fucking scupper it. Like I was telling you about the guy who emailed us. So he emailed our company.
Yeah.
And his email was literally, how the fuck are y'all going to charge $40 for a T-shirt?
Yeah.
To which I was like, okay, so y'all, so he's a country boy. Not many people say y'all. They don't type the fucker out and apostrophize it.
Yeah.
Do you know, is that the right way?
From America?
Must have been. Yeah, because he said $40 US. Because our T-shirts, they range from like 18 quid. The cheapest is 18. I think the most expensive is about 30.
Hey, just to let you guys know, I'm repping today.
And you're flexing in them already, yeah. But for me, I'm more about, I want to get the nicest T-shirt. I want you to get the nicest. So if it is a kid asking his parent for it and they buy him a really nice t-shirt, or they struggling like we were struggling as kids, if they buy it and then they pick it off the floor and they go, is this what you spent 30 quid on? Fuck, that's thick, that's nice, it's warm. Whereas if you're selling shit and they pick it up and they're like, this is what I fucking spent 30 quid on.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work from
got holes in it.
Exactly. So when he texted me that, I was like, okay. And obviously I worked in customer experience a lot when I was at Egg. So I was like, okay, so I can either tell this guy to go fuck himself. Who the fuck do you think he is? But then I was like, do you know what? He's hurting for a reason. And even if he said to me, I'm really struggling, but I fucking love Dan Hardy and I love to be part of your gang, I'd be like, don't worry, I'll send you a t-shirt.
Oh, mate.
Because I want everyone to feel that.
Yeah.
I was, like I say, we struggled growing up and there were certain people that looked out for you. And you remember them people, because it's not like they'll come around with a bag of clothes and go, all right, poor Billy, there's some clothes. There's some pity. If you want anything other than bread and crackers, just come and see us because we might give you some gravy. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, no one was like that for us. They were really humble.
Yeah.
And I've tried to play that forward. So my thing was then, all right, calm down before you tell this guy to fuck off.
Yeah.
I'll read you my response.
Yeah, please do. It's such a great response.
I know you're a poet, which is a problem because obviously I'm not a poet. And
I can put you a beat on now if you want, mate, as well, like an emotional instrumental.
I struggle with reading. Truth be told, I can, like I say, I can draw it, but I can't always talk very well.
Dyslexic?
Probably.
I've got dyslexia.
Mate, I probably had all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, any of them little letters you want to put A, C, D, B, C, A, what fucking OCD, ACB, or whatever the fuck. I've probably got most of it. But I draw
I'll take it all on,
I can draw you a logo.
Labels, baby.
That's it. So, this was Justin from America that said, he said, he didn't even introduce himself.
No.
The message is, why the fuck y'all charging almost 40 US for a t-shirt? So my response was...
Passive aggressive.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for your message. We're not here to take part, brother. We're smashing this game. I take it that you're talking about the bullet tee, which is this design. We do have training tees that are £18. That's 18 English pounds. Cheap, like the birdie. It works out about $23. So... not only will you be able to flex like a boss, you'll be super warm and fuzzy in your tummy knowing that you're supporting an independent brand, and I may even chuck some stickers and fancy shit in there for you. We're all out here trying to create something and keep competitive. You can run to Target or Costco and snatch half a dozen Kirkland tees for $3, but it's similar to owning a scooter. Sure, it's practical, but you don't want your friends to see you riding it. Take it easy, man. If you want to be part of the gang, let me know. If not, you're always welcome in the future. Owen. Slick designer of said insanely expensive t-shirts. Which I thought, and he came back afterwards like, fuck it, I'm in.
It's with that though, you've been so honest and real and authentic with that response that he's just like, hang on a minute, this is a decent guy here. I want to be part of this.
If you're going to take time, if you're going to take time out to talk to someone, and I think this happens a lot because obviously we've done expos, we've done different things and we've been to places. I think the minute you take time to listen to someone and engage, and I used to do a lot of shows, we used to go to dance shows and talk to people, and like there were annual events. So there's this one woman, I think she was a Geordie. There was a few different people with that. There was this one family that she'd always come and find me because she knew I was going to give her a deal. Because the first year she tried to hustle.
Right.
And basically, let's say it came to 200 quid.
Yeah.
And she said, would you do 180 for cash? And we went a bit back and forth. And I did it for, say, 185 quid.
Yeah.
And then when she walked off and she was all cheeky and she went, well, I'd give you the 200. I said, I'll let you have it for 150. So, but it's that kind of bite that I want. All I ever want is that little bit of bants. So every year she come back and find me, and it was one of them where the first year she came back, I was like, "How's it going? How did you get on with the caravan in Wales? That and how did that fit?" And she's like, "How do you remember that?" Because we fucking talked to her. I can't remember my times table.
Proper connection.
I don't know. I don't know normal shit, but I can remember what someone was doing their summer or what their plans are because I feel it's important.
Well, because you're quite a sensitive soul, you probably your education comes from here. When you feel it. I go to schools with this teacher called Martin Illingworth, who's got a book out. It's great, called Forget School.
Okay.
But his whole emphasis is education's supposed to be a really not emotional time where everyone's running around crying, but you feel education. It comes from inside of you. So you having them moments has created something, so it stays in here.
Well, massive. I think for me, when I started the clothing industry. My first interaction with that was Ratchet Clothing in 2012, and I met a lot of really powerful people. I met a lot of influencers.
That shit went fucking through the roof, didn't it?
It went massive.
Yeah.
But the problem was that the amount of fake people you see.
Yeah.
There's always an equivalent of me behind that famous person that is actually pulling the strings or doing the right stuff.
Yeah.
So like I've been to dinner with one of the fighters I've been to dinner with before I met Dan or anyone was Randy Couture, and Randy Couture he's a fucking legend.
Big note, yeah.
He's been in Expendables. He's like a dual weight different champion in the UFC. He's an absolute OG. And I sat this far away from him. I had a Chinese meal with him. He stole my friend's chips. But even talking to him, even talking to him, he wasn't completely there. And then you do that thing when you're a bit of a fanboy and you say, "Oh, mate, do you mind following me on Twitter?" It's that ego boost, isn't it? Like, I've got such and such following me. Like, it's a big thing. It don't make a fucking difference. People are people. But I asked him and he was like, "Oh, and turned to his mate. He's like, have I got Twitter?" And they were like, yeah. What's your handle? And I was like, do you know what? Probably don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, if I'm not going to talk to him, I don't really want to be talking to his fucking cousin's friend Sarah that's running it going, all right, what do you want to talk about this week?" They're not engaged, they're not involved. So all these people that I used to meet, these massive, like the amount of people from, I don't know, Geordie Shore, and I know that doesn't sound that big now because we're not in that Geordie Shore bubble. But at the time, they were making fucking bank. It's like meeting Ross or Rachel from Friends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So there was a lot of different people. I mean, we went to meet the Prime Minister. We did all this cool shit.
Again, in our minds, we pedestal people so high up. We think
they're just a fucking
not humans
person
anymore. Yeah, they've got this special power that we never will be able to own.
See, for me, I got over that pretty quick because I always put it down to practicalities. So, like, if you're at the side of the road and the fucking car's got a flat tyre, can Vin Diesel change it, or is it going to be me changing it? Because I'm not saying that Vin Diesel's a thick cunt that can't change a tyre, but it comes down to, like, let's strip everything back, put you on a desert island, how long are you going to survive? Oh, fucking 2 years.
Beautiful
Didn't
way
do
of
bad.
looking at things, though.
But just because they're people, and I think Dan's taught me that quite a lot, because he is one of the most humble people you'll ever meet. Like, he's a super switched on guy, but like, even when he offered me the job, he got my wife in the room and made sure that my wife was involved with this whole thing, because
family.
My previous employer couldn't even remember her name. And to me, that's a big
Does
thing.
Not care about you
no.
At all. What's that woman you always with called?
Mate, well,
mate.
you know when someone calls my wife Tracy, that I've worked with for a long time, I'm like, oh, that's a slip. Oh, any of them loyalties are now just melting away. And one of the big things that I'll say to people is, if you can remember my kids' names, because I talk about my kids all the time, I'm super proud of my kids and my family.
Good.
But I will always talk about them. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, can you give me some free stuff? I'm like, what's my kid's name? And they're like, Brian? I'm like, no, you've got a boy. Or even my dog's name. Tell me what my dog's name. My dogs are all on Instagram. They've got a fucking profile.
You're going to struggle with me, mate, because my dyslexia makes me forget names like that.
But that's the difference. But the thing is, you've got a reason. Whereas, when I've got people in an office, and like, I once had a guy come in, and I mean, one of them was Miley Cyrus's backing dancer, Freaka Brit. And she was wicked. But she came in and she had with her makeup artist at the time and her manager, who's a guy called David Marvel. And he was the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He's a makeup artist to the stars. Like, he's worked with everyone you can imagine. And literally still texts now. And still will message, how's things, everything all right. We're on Facebook, we have a chat. If Freak Brit was in front of me, she probably wouldn't remember me. And that's the difference. And I think it's making the connections with the people. Like, I'm not saying be rude to people, but there's certain elements, because people they're built this certain way.
I feel sorry for celebrities in somewhat way, though, because for me, the ones that I really navigate to and I have fangirled when I've met them was like Russell Brand or Mike Skinner. There's a few people, but it's because of this response they gave me in a time where I was really lost, and Mike Skinner did Dry Your Eyes, Mate, and I was like, fucking hell, every word just spoken to me, or like I didn't know what to think about the world crisis or what's happening, and Russell Brand's actually like put a little video out on YouTube. I've watched it and it's the first time I've actually thought, fucking hell, I've felt that before, that addiction and all those things he's talking about. And because they've given me this beautiful like response and hug through a computer screen.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I've met them, I'm like, I feel like they've got an obligation to withhold that. They're
Yeah.
like, you did something for me. But I go into schools, and a lot of kids now, I say, like, what do you want to be when you're older? And they just say famous. And they
Yeah.
don't say what for. They don't say anything. They don't give a shit. Like, it could be murdering someone, really.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of famous murderers out there, but they just want to be known.
Yeah.
And that the thing for, like, celebrities, because they're so known, people, like we said before, have got this, like, expectation of them.
Yeah.
And they've got to, like, withhold this expectations they just can't.
No.
And when I met Mike Skinner for the first time, I went up to him and because he gave me that response, I was like, mate, you don't know what you did for me. You're my boy. I love you. And he's just like, fuck you know, who's this kid?
Yeah.
I forgot. I treated in it a really, like, visual response where he was like, not feeling it. I've met him a few times though, and he's much better the next time. But yeah.
I think that happens a lot with most people you meet, because they're on this massive pedestal. But I always try and put it down to, they're just people.
Yeah.
They are just
Yeah.
people. So, like, the person I need more than anything is my wife. Because she picks me up when I need to be picked up. She celebrates when we need to celebrate. She takes care of this, that, and the other. And I'd be completely fucked
Yeah,
without her. So you
yeah.
could say to me, oh, you're going to go and meet fucking Donald Trump and be paid £20 million. I'm like, can Stacey come?
Yeah.
No, she can't. It's like, well, I don't want to sit on a plane for 8 hours without her, and I don't want to be doing all this and
That
that.
humbling seems like it's become, because you've been around so many, like, people that are known and are figures.
Yeah.
And if you've met them and you're like, hang on a minute.
Well, it's super hollow, because the problem is you've been fucked over in your life at some point. I've been fucked over.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can trust too easy. Like, I'll always say to people, you get my respect immediately, but if you lose it, it's dead hard to get it back.
Okay.
It's almost impossible to get back, because
way of being.
I try and be fair with everyone, and it could be down to either drawing them a website or doing them a logo. Like, I've worked with so many people, and the amount of people that will try and take advantage. Like, I've had people that have got literally fuck all, nothing at all, and I'll sit down with them and they've got the most amazing business idea. I'm like, well, let's just do it. And they're like, yeah, well, I can't afford this, of which 80% I can do. So I say, well, I'll just do it for you. And they're like, yeah, but how much is that going to be? Because someone told me it's going to be this one. So I'm like, what the fuck? No, you need it. Like, can you afford it? And they go, no. So it's like, all right, well, just, what can you do? And it's like, I'll make a wicked cherry pie. It's like, make me the cherry pie then, and I'll do you this. And for me, it's just a favour for favour. It doesn't have to be like, oh, specifically that logo is £1,900 and that cherry pie is $2.99. It's just, I've got your back, you got mine. It's time. And the amount of people that don't respect that or see that, and you get these people that have got all the money in the world, and then they'll go like, do that cheaper.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, I just want to be like you.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate money.
And it's not dirty, but the amount of people it stops in their tracks, talented people that could do amazing things, but because they've put money at the end goal of it, and they can't get to this point, they're just like, I'll forget it then, I won't go. And you're like, mate, bro, you're so close. Just find an Owen, or find somebody that's willing to take you on.
But the thing is, it's all about how hard you pedal.
Yeah,
everyone's trying to get uphill.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you've got all the money in the world. Like, what was I looking at? Like Donald Trump this morning. Donald Trump's got diagnosed with COVID.
Yeah.
Money ain't going to shake that off, bro.
No,
Power ain't going to shake that off. No. It's your body. If your body's fully fucked, that's it, you're done. And I've known other people that have got massive businesses. There's a family that used to make clothes for me in Mansfield, and they were the nicest family. There's 3 of them. There's 2 of them, but one of their real close, either brother or brother-in-law, it was a while ago, they told me the story, dropped dead. He's like 48. So they changed their hours from 7 in the morning till 7 at night to like 10:30 till 4. And all the workers did that.
Yeah.
And then they celebrated everyone's success. So when they had something go right, they celebrated. When they had something go wrong, the people didn't mind staying in. But that's where that family environment comes in. Like the amount of times that me and Dan have done stuff and I've fucked up. Like we have stamps, rubber stamps for hitting coffee bags and for hitting different things. So because I'm a bit of a fucking idiot, when I'm doing orders, I'm doing them by myself. So I need a bit of a method. So like I've got a certain stamp that I'll hit to say that order's finished.
Yeah.
But I don't complete the order until I've done the whole table, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Aimless fuck.
That is literally how I edit videos.
Yeah. It's got to go down that that routine. So
that's funny that is.
But it's creative, man. So when you do things like that, it's you get this trust, and like Dan's got this absolute trust in me because he knows that my experience in this industry is this. And one day, it just so happened that it was at my house, and we were painting with the kids. So the kids were outside. we'd had some mannequins delivered. So we had these fucking massive boxes that basically he got there to work with me. And we ended up painting these boxes with the kids.
Sick.
Which I've never had that. Like from leaving school, I haven't had that free time because if your brain's free, then I can do my work at like 2 a.m. watching Rust Valley on Netflix and just I can get more work done. I can get a whole day's work done in 2 hours. Which sounds insane, but the amount of times people get up to go to the coffee machine, go for a shit, go for a walk, ring the dad, do whatever.
Procrastinated any which way they can.
There's 2 fucking hours really of work that you've done that you didn't want to do, but I've smashed 2 hours of work that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
So, because he was doing that, and then we got this knock at the door. And I was like, oh, so excited. Bro, fucking stamps are here, right? Ran to the door, fucking opens the door, gives me a box like this big. Now, bear in mind, these are 70mm stamps for a coffee bag. So I pulled him in, passed it to Dan, dead proud of myself. Only been working together for about 2 months. There you go, mate. And there's the new stamps. Have a look. Open them up, and these planks of wood that were like this big came out. And I was like, what the fuck has happened? And instead of being 70mm, it was like 70 centimetres. They were fucking huge. The cost was 4 times the amount. I didn't even bat an eyelid. And he was like, what are we going to do with these? And he went, I'll show you what we'll do. And he took them outside, started stamping the box.
Sick.
But because everyone fucks
just
up.
Crumble at it.
But like, what are you going to do? Like, you know, if you get mad and frustrated and angry and fucked off about this thing, that's ruined my week. It's ruined your week. Yeah. And where realistically, it's not like you've dropped £1 million on something. But there's too much tension and pressure. And the problem is when you're creative and you've got someone going, come on, be creative. Press the Photoshop button.
Yeah.
And you know when someone either trivialise what you do or they expect something from nothing, it kind of puts you in a bad place before you've even started because the amount of times you must have this being creative that you'll do all your best work and send it to them and you get the can you just and you hear a list of can you just and you go,
but the thing is that we'll usually start with this is the best thing ever.
Can you just change all of this? And then after you've when they come round and they'll sit down with you and they go, can you change all that? And then they'll look you in the eye and go, what do you think? It's like, well, I think the fucking one I sent you, dickhead, because it's the best one I've ever done. And that's where it gets my hackles up a little bit because you don't get a plumber in that comes in, fixes a pipe, and then you go, can you not just put 2 more bends in there and a couple of more fucking...
It's absolutely fantastic. All the shit goes to the right place. But I would just like it if it just did this, and this.
Can I have a pipe doing a curly-whirly around the kitchen? Yeah, of course you can. Fucking idiot. But it's, it's not seen as... It's not seen as an art or it's not seen as a genuine... as a thing. And like it's really tricky. I mean, I've got a lot of positive feedback recently because luckily for me I learned a shitload of stuff about clothing, the clothing industry, e-commerce, so many different areas because there's a lot of sharks.
Right.
Like genuinely, if I showed you Instagram now, I've probably got 40 messages in a box that are just people going, I can make this for you. Which all right. No, probably 10% of them are genuine people.
Mate. I don't envy you here.
No, but this is the problem.
Robots just coming to take a piece of you away somehow.
But that's all they want. All they want is that secret sauce. So like they promise you the moon on a stick.
Like plankton out of
yeah, exactly. It is plankton out of SpongeBob. But like fucking so many emails, and they're either made up of pidgin English or they're made up of like really well put together things. And I do think that a lot of stuff, if you need something that's the best, you find it yourself. And normally like the cream rises, so you normally find these best people. And it was when we started, the initial idea was to buy clothes that we've cut and sewn and made ourselves, and that's what you aspire to do. You have, so it's not a blank t-shirt that's printed, it's something that's been cut to your specification and blah blah blah. Now back in the day that was more important because there wasn't many blanks. There wasn't many things that people could decorate other than a shitty Fruit of the Loom sweatshirt that the council yard buy for all their workers, and then all the t-shirt companies are buying. So it's just a bog standard.
People hear it, they're like, £2? Yeah, I have loads of them. They're great.
Wanky t-shirt. Now the industry's massive. So like there's an actual bigger industry in the blank market. So when I first got on board with the guys, they were like, oh, we're going to do this, and we've got this guy he's already contacted us. Can you imagine it? He's already contacted us. They want to work with us. And it's like, just fucking pump the brakes a bit, because if it's too good to be true, it's definitely too good to be true.
Definitely.
So we were almost signing away like 80 grand's worth of fucking money to get this stuff made. And I went, whoa, let's just fucking why don't we do a bit of a test trade? Let's print ourselves half a dozen T-shirts, see if people buy them.
Yeah.
And that's where we went from. So we sort of saved this. I'm not saying I had 80 grand because I didn't have 80 grand, but it was more like this fundamental element that we were setting up. And for me, now that Ollie's come on board, which is one of the like co-founders of Full Reptile, he's gone from being a strength and conditioning coach, and he was Dan's strength and conditioning coach. He worked all over the world. He's been in Australia, Japan,
doing what he loved as
and fucking amazing at it, right?
Was it training MMA fighters or was it
no? So like rugby players. So it's like Crash Collision, all these different things. But one of the people that's behind the scenes of like an amazing athlete. So you know when you've got someone, it doesn't matter what the athlete is, but there's always a team behind them.
It's like, thank you for having great genetics, but you do need a dietitian.
But don't forget you need to do this, dickhead, and stop doing that. So the interesting thing for me was, because obviously mine and Dan's brain are very similar. We call it hive brain. So like we'll get together and I'll start a sentence and he's already got a drawing of it in his phone. You mean like this? And so it's that's really humbling and relaxing, because a lot of the times
energy like emanates
for real, but I've always had to explain myself. So being a bit of a crazy twat, they love when it was show day. So they knew I was going to stand up on the counter and sing happy birthday to the customers. That's fine. Yeah. Be that crazy twat. Monday to Friday, can you just keep making us money? And the difference is it's kind of, you're putting me back in a box, and I don't want that, because I feel stifled and I feel kind of like restricted.
Where was this at? Sorry, where?
So loads of places. So when I was at Thornton's, at Egg, when I was at Ratchet.
Mate, Thornton's Brothers. Give me some of that, mate.
5.5 years.
Oh, shit. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, mate. I can see why. But it was always easy to get him out of the box, send him out to do the shit I don't want to do. But then they didn't want that all the time. Whereas when me and Dan got together, it was more a case of, he was like, that's the bit I love, that's you, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just me. And he's like, do you like being not you? And I'm like, no, not at all. He's like, well, fuck it, just
do you.
Let's make you all the time. So because we were so close with working out what we wanted to do,
sounds great.
It was dead organic. But Ollie at the time was living in Japan. Dean, so the collective, I know this has gone off on a massive fucking sideways tangent.
Take me on your journey, brother. So, take me with you.
There's 5 of us in the collective. There's obviously Dan. There's me.
Are you like the co-founders? Is this...
All, yeah. So like all 5 of us, basically, you take one piece out and it's kind of
the
fucked.
Jenga's gone.
Yeah, for real. Well, I like to think so. I mean, probably one of us could have done it themselves if Dan really tried harder. So there's Dan, there's me, Wad, who was Dan's manager. And so if you know anything about British MMA, Wad was the manager for a lot of UK stars. So he's had a lot of experience of dealing with fucking maniacs, basically. Yeah. So because the sport gets big, he's managing half a dozen of them, and then before you know it, they're fucking strutting around like Charlie Big Potatoes.
Crazy ones off of like Ultimate Fighter.
Exactly.
And calm them down.
So in one season, I think it was season 9, he had like 4 lads that were there.
Fucking hell.
And they're all his boys. So he's like the adult of the group.
Okay.
He does a lot of, so if I've got expenses or something, or I've got a question about that important shit, that goes to Wad. But if it's being weird, then that's for me. So then there's Dean, who was one of the members of season 9 of The Ultimate Fighter. So Dean Singer, who was Dan's training partner, just long-time friend and training partner, but then he was also friends with Ollie. So then Ollie, Dean and Dan trained together. Ollie was strength and conditioning. And so I sort of came in off the back. I've always known Dan because I used to make all his banners when he fought. All the sponsors used to hang on a banner, so I used to make all them for people. So you didn't
go to school or anything together? You just met him through...
Yeah, but we're probably, I think we're 1 year and a month apart. I'm 1 year older than him. So he's 175 and I'm 174. So mine is 17th of April. His is the 17th of May.
Your guess.
Tell me about 82 and 81. So fucking, it's weird, but like Dan's whole upbringing, other than his parents stayed together, was very similar to mine. Where they didn't have a lot of everything. Really, really influential by grandparents, family, cousins.
I'm a nan kid.
Exactly.
You can probably tell.
Yeah. Lego. Just
Marmite sandwiches.
That's it. All that shit that like you think's a treat, but it's because your mum's struggling her tits off and can't afford it. But you're like, oh my God, can we do Chris sandwiches again with baked beans in? And she's like, yeah, just don't tell anyone about this. It's like, oh, what about the dog food? It's like, shh. So he had a similar upbringing to me. I know that the other lads, like Wad and Dean were from Windsor, so that was slightly different for them. But then Ollie was friends with Dan. So just getting back on point, this was basically, that's how the collective came together. But it was predominantly me and Dan, because Dean's in China, running the UFC Performance Institute, which is fucking phenomenal.
Wow.
So he's big time over there, killing it. Then you got Ollie, who's strength conditioning coach, and I think it's for the Kubota Spears in Japan. I don't know, fuck all about rugby. If I've got that wrong, apologies. But so he was
love it in Japan, though.
Smashing
don't
it, yeah,
big, yeah,
and
okay.
especially to have this fucking guy from England doing it. So Ollie was over there after being to Australia, and so the early days was a lot of me and Dan getting together and just being super creative and be like, oh, we're going to do this, do that, without me knowing the amount of knowledge I had for this industry. And the thing that's really like opened my eyes is since Ollie's come back home and come over, he's made himself a website. He's got brand awareness. And all this shit that he's doing, that literally, he launched a website the other day and he said, have a look for me. Like, I'm not the guy that checks people's fucking spelling or anything, but I looked and it was the nicest thing I've seen. And I was like, and I'll give him a plug. It was Jacobson House is the name, and it's his wife that's selling like fancy pampas grass, which are a bit schmoncy foncy for certain. I'm not into it, but people love that stuff. And like, I know if I took it home to my wife, she'd be into it.
Yeah.
But he's made this website himself, first time ever, branding, logo, you name it. And he then said to me afterwards, it's like, thanks to you, I've taken inspiration from you. And it kind of hit me hard, because I was like, what the fuck? I try and make people laugh. I don't try and like...
You guys are like the opposite of the in-betweeners right now. You're actually giving props.
Mate, yeah.
Not you're a bass wanker.
Yeah, mate, there's a lot of that. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, the amount of shit we call each other. Yeah.
The absolute opposite, and I love
that
it.
love.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of problems with when you're trying to do something with people or for people that they are... I don't want you to have credit for that. I don't... Can we not tell that story?
Struggling with someone else having a success.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
I mean, when I trained, when I was at Egg, I was
in any scene, any clique.
Fucking everywhere. Mate, we was at Egg, and bear in mind, Egg is a closed door bank back in the day. So we were wearing shorts and flip-flops. It was a bank, and it was massive, but no one could see us. So it didn't fucking matter.
Rocking up with the dog in as well,
mate. Yeah, I'd take my dog there with dog in, or just take the dog.
You're doing a bit of dogging, weren't you? Yeah. Surely that's.
We had a dog in car park. It was specialised. But there was a lady that I trained, because I used to do the floor walking in the green room. So basically, you go upstairs, you do training, and I did training for people, but then they'd come downstairs, and you weren't allowed to tell the customer, "Bear with me, I'm really new. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." Yeah. You weren't allowed.
Really?
And it's kind of terrifying. And they used to ring you. There'd be like test calls that come in, and they used to really fucking give you some absolute shit just to see how you reacted. And there was one lady that came through, and I mean, we were close, but I trained her in the green room. Fast forward 4 or 5 years, and she was then my boss. And boss in the loosest term, I'm an associate, you're a team leader. Like, really... You're in charge of adults. It's not like... It's like saying to someone, you can be the boss because then you get to stay late and lock up. Yeah. Like, that's not a privilege. That's dog shit. Yeah. You get the worst shifts, but you're the boss. And she used to hate it. If I told people that I'd trained her, she fucking hated it. She took me to one side like, look, don't tell people that.
Really?
And I'm like, why not? It's like, well, you know...
Blowing her ego out of the...
Yeah, but the excuse was, I don't want you to look bad. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, mate.
Oh.
This is your forever job. This is just for me to make fucking money. Like, the biggest thing for me working there, it wasn't making money from the wage. I made more money from the audience of people that I could sell shit to. Oh, mate, I had a racket.
What were you selling
You fucking name it. I'm not talking, not a lot of drugs, but it was more like, if you wanted a PlayStation 2... or a PlayStation 3 or whatever the fuck was out at the time, or an iPhone.
You don't sell the sausage, you sell the sizzle.
That's it, man. But everyone came to me.
Yeah.
There was a couple of people called me Red from Shawshank. So I had a big filing cabinet. Morgan. So I had a big filing cabinet down the side of my desk. And basically I used to sit there really quiet in my own little corner, because I got lumbered with a fucking shit team. Just a really bad team, but I just kept my head down. This was when it was when the Nokia N95 was out. I don't know if you remember. It was a black phone that if you push upwards, you got the keys, and if you push downwards, you got like a play button. And it came preloaded, Spider-Man 3.
Good old days.
Yeah, no one wanted that.
Days.
So I used to sit, put my headphones in, and just listen to music and just work. But this magical filing cabinet next to me, people would come along, open the drawer, put a bag in, take something out, or leave money. And it just got to be this thing where, like, if you'd have come into work one day, and this was the hustle from being, like, growing up, not having a lot.
Yeah.
When someone would say, oh, mate, check out my new phone. I've got the new iPhone 3.
Yeah.
I'd be like, safe, let me have a look. Oh, make a big fuss of this person. What you done with the 2? And there was no Mazuma back in the day, or like fucking Magpie. They go, oh, it's just... And once you've got the new thing, you don't really give a fuck about the old thing.
Right.
What are you doing with that? And they're like, oh, have it. Oh, no, I'll give you some money for it. So they'd be like, okay, 40 quid. So that'd sit in its box in that drawer. So then someone would come over and go, dude, fucking hell, I need an iPhone. Oh, no worries, what number? They're like, anything will do, 2 will be all right. How's this one?
Oh,
100 quid. And
you watched Only Fools and Horses.
Always. It was Del Boy, man.
I know you did. I know you did.
That was my racket. Because, and it was all above board. But the main thing was that I had a massive audience. So like, if you'd have come in one day and said, I've got, I don't know, a fucking bus I need to sell.
Yeah.
I'd have sold that bus for you.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Within that day. And that's not being big-headed. It was just finding out.
Businesses would come to you and say, right, we need that guy to be the face of here. We need him to...
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
But it's an easy sell, isn't it?
Had you had that in your DNA? Had you had that in your makeup as a kid? Were you in drama classes? Were you going and performing and doing all these crazy things?
I used to, it was, I think... is making people laugh.
Yeah.
I mean...
Were you the class clown then? Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I try and make people laugh that way, but always in a, like, you try and do it in a secret way as well. I can remember we had a teacher called Miss Petit, me and Sam, and she was a French teacher.
Were you in school together?
Yeah. Dude, we've known each other since we were 2.
All adds up.
Nursery, school, you name it. We got fucking told off a lot. And
My
obviously,
2 heroes,
I got him into a lot of trouble. But... Miss Petit, I realised when you write Miss Petit, it says tit. Obviously, petit, the last part of petit is tit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking brilliant. So I waited, and there was a girl sat next to me, and she was like, I got sat next to her because she was super square.
Okay.
She's a lovely girl. I can't even remember her name, but she was like literally goody two shoes, not a boo to a goose. So I said to her, when we do hangman, say the letter T. She was like, no problem. Didn't really think a lot of it.
Yeah.
Then I found another super geek because Miss Petit wouldn't choose Sam. And I was like, you say the letter I. So basically, I went up there, fucking wrote it out on the board.
You've been and plotted it.
I'd been begging to do hangman because bear in mind, she fucking hated me. So it'd been months. Yeah. And I'm like, you can't say no this time, dickhead. Fucking hit me up. So I got everyone primed. The proudest you've ever seen this kid stood at the front. Literally wrote the word tit, and she just looked to him and was like, out, fuming. And her name, it was only going to be a fucking name, but she was mad at me because I was writing the word tit on the board. So I thought I was clever.
I love that. I remember my school, I went to a Denver Free School around here.
I did the hoodies for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With the bird.
Well, I didn't last long. My sister's the genius of the family.
Okay.
And I'm the very naughty kid getting kicked out of primaries and secondaries. But I remember Mrs. Fields, who was the head teacher. I remember she knew she'd gone too far one day. It was like my last leg. I can't remember what I'd done even, but I remember she grabbed hold of me and put me against a wall. And you know when you're looking at a teacher's eyes and you're like, you've lost... I must have been in her mind like every day for the last year, and she's just thinking every morning, I've got that fucking kid to go to.
That's it.
And one day she just had enough and grabbed me, and you saw like the steam coming out of her mouth like into my face, and she's just like, you have done it for the last time. And all the kids have just gone silent, and she see her completely go grey because she's like, I've gone too far now.
But you know, nowadays there've been 30 kids filming it, and you'd have been like, oh bro, you fucked up, you know, bro.
50k views though, yeah? 50k views. I remember that big.
The thing is, for me, I relate to dogs and kids way better. I'm all about, like, for Christmas I'll have Nerf guns and Lego. I don't want soft presents. I sell soft presents. I'm all about selling clothes. Yeah, I'm all about that. But I like toys. I need something to play with at Christmas. Like, don't fucking, oh, I've got some handkerchiefs and this. He's like, fuck off. Like, give me something to do.
Yes,
it's Christmas Day. I want to play. And I know you spoke about doing like the school tours, but I did a couple of school tours. And
Sick.
I think I can relate. I can immediately pull me out of the crowd.
Yeah.
So I can nullify that dickhead. Me being the dickhead.
Yeah.
And like, we did this talk. And
little mini me's always come to me afterwards.
Always.
Or they're the first ones.
Yeah.
Because you just start off with like, just something daft. And they're like, hang on a minute, I'm not going to mess about for a minute. And they're just listening in. And
but that's because they're engaged.
Yeah, you tell your story and they're just like, all the way.
Yeah.
You had it tough too. You got bullied. And then just all the way through.
I fucked all of this up.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying this.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of hard. And I stay up till 3 a.m. It's tough as fuck, but I love it. But this was all fucked. And the thing is, school fucking, it blows my mind because they're still sitting them in a classroom and talking at them.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on a minute. So like the other day, me and the kids are down the garden and they're using an angle grinder. I'm not saying they're going to chop their fucking fingers off, but it's like, how do we make this piece of metal shorter?
Yeah.
We've got to cut it. So what the fuck? But it's not like we don't have to write it down.
This is the some
School
knowledge
of YouTube,
of humanity right here. And even me now, like 27-year-old Mikey, right, I need to build a stage for the back of the bus. I've got a bus now, shit. How do I get the seats out? YouTube straight away. But you learn for now. You learn for like, what do I need to know in this second?
Mate.
Right, that. And then it stays for longer. Not who are the kings and queens of England a few thousand years ago.
But for me, I struggle sometimes to call myself a designer.
Yeah.
I feel I've got a lot of knowledge in a certain area. And I'm self-taught on Illustrator, Photoshop and Dreamweaver. So I can build you a website.
Yeah.
I can make you a lovely logo. But if you sat down with me and a designer, official through college, you'd watch me and everything I do is not the right way.
Backwards, yeah.
But we get to the same point.
Your way.
Yeah. But it works.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been in design studios where one guy, he had a Mac and it was set with like 3 screens, all this stuff. But to me, a Mac has got a load of little secret bits. So that if you can highlight a load of things, you can chuck them in a folder, right click and put a color code on it. So these sort of little nuances that not a lot of people will see.
Yeah.
And this guy's been a designer there for like 10 years. And they basically called me in because I did a design to be screen printed. And I was talking to the gaffer. I always like to get hold of the gaffer straight away, just because
big dog.
Yeah, we're on the fucking same level. Do you know what I mean?
Who's the hardest one here?
Yeah, I'm out like a cunt, but I know someone who could beat you up. So let's fucking get this straight. So basically, I got this guy, and he said, "We've had a bet. I want you to set a bet of how you've made this design this way." And they were all wrong. I'd done it completely different, and they couldn't believe how simple this process was. But then when I started looking, and I was like, "Oh, hold on a minute. You're an actual designer. You've been through college. You've got university debt." I went to work at Thornton's and went to college and met my wife. I didn't do any of that shit. So I had a passion for it, but that sort of led to where I am now. And so I used to struggle saying that I'm a designer.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, you can be whatever you want.
What you do, yeah.
But as long as you've got a bit of backing and you've got a passion for what you're doing, and that's why school always frustrates me, because if one of your kids goes, "I fucking love doing this," they're like, yeah, but it's maths and history and then science. It's like, all right, but Horrible Histories has covered me for fucking history. Hardcore history podcast, I'm all over that. Science.
I've watched the Vikings on Netflix.
Mate. And I think you have to nurture the bits that someone gravitates to.
Yeah, the passion.
Like, even referring back to Ollie, during lockdown, we were talking about kids and all the rest of it, because obviously he's got 3 kids, I've got 2. And he was saying, "Mate, I was pulling my hair out." He's not got any hair, but trying to pull his hair out with his kid playing...
getting the tweezers.
Yeah, exactly. His kid was playing Minecraft. And he said, "It's just video games." And then he sat with him and he saw he's actually problem solving.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you...
And communicating probably,
mate,
on
you try and,
millions of people
You try
online.
and work that shit out as an adult now. My daughter will sit and she'll fucking do loads of different shit to make a special block that does this. It's insane.
Yeah.
But that needs to be celebrated.
Yeah.
Because it's not just Mortal Kombat. Like, even if it is Mortal Kombat, there's a video game industry now that is worth more than any sport. Esports is
really do need to change
massive.
with these times. We
Yeah,
need
for
to
real.
flip it on his head how we see things. Like
Yeah.
what we're saying, like planning for the future, having an exam to prep for in like a year's time. Retain this information. Retain. It's like, no, I want to be doing my passion now. I want to
Yeah.
be constantly learning on the go and unlearning and relearning.
But that's how. But I think that's how the problem solving everything is a problem to solve. Boiling a fucking egg is a problem to solve, or putting a rear axle on a bus is a problem to solve. But there's normally some dude that's put it on YouTube.
I like what you said though about you've learnt your way to do it. It's like me with Final Cut. I still have people like who've been to university and they're like, you could just do this like this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
But I still stick to my way.
Something's missing in your brain if you don't do your step.
It's my way. It's how I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And all these kids now, if they can look at YouTube tutorials or speak to people or find information, if they can start piecing it together and finding their way to do it, it sticks and it stays.
Yeah, yeah.
You become your own person.
But it's because you've had a go. Like my eldest loves cooking.
Yeah.
So now, anything I can do to encourage her to want to cook, that's all I want to do. Like, do you want to cook? And it's like, no, I'm going to do this. It's like, cool, no worries.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to push her that hard that she hates it, but I want to encourage whatever she's doing. So the difference is, like, I mean, I know money plays a big thing into it. Like, for me, it was getting a Mac.
Yeah.
And I got that when I was made redundant, when was Libby born? 2012. So I was, 8 years ago. So I was, 30-something, 31. And to get that and then to learn from that was... No, it was longer than that, because it's probably roughly about that. So for me to have that was then my whole business.
Yeah.
But I respect and admire that. And but I know other people that have got the money that would go out and buy it, and it's like, oh, what's it for? It's just for Facebook and YouTube. I'm like, you've got a whole little business. You've got a whole office there.
It's in
there.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that will change, but it's more about supporting the randoms. Like some people, like you say, that can retain information and get through school. But I mean, the first day I sat at Egg,
and that's fine. You can have them people as part of society, but we've conditioned them to think this is all we need. This is all we can be.
But that's what I mean. Social's got a double-edged sword, hasn't it? Because it can either promote stuff to be dead easy and simple and brilliant, or it can promote stuff to be dead dark and horrible. But I mean, when I started at Egg in October 2001. And I remember that just because that was when my niece was born. And I sat there, and you go around, you do that fucking thing going around the room where it's like, you have to introduce yourself, you tell two truths and a lie. That's what they used to do.
What a game.
So you're like, okay, I once got all my spellings right when I was at school. I swam for a brick in pyjamas, and I'm Superman. And they're like, I don't think you swam for a brick. So, all right, dickhead, fair enough. So we're doing all this, and there's like 20 people in the room, and you feel completely out of your comfort zone because you failed all your exams.
Yeah. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, you kind of got in there just off the skin of your teeth, and like you sat there and you're like, all right, fair enough. Because this was all the academic side of it. I fucking struggled. I mean, I was the best salesman there for I think the first 6 months. I made a ridiculous amount of money. I was there 10 years, but I could sell ice to Eskimos.
Yeah.
And it just, all this PPI that you're getting phone calls for now, my fault. Or the CRP, my fault. But that's just
we said earlier about like there's good cans and then there's bad cans.
Oh, that's a bad can, mate. But when a company says sell that, I'll give you this much money, you're like, fucking no problem.
We're going in.
So this girl sat next to me, and she introduced herself, and she said, I've just finished university. I've got, I think it was 27 grand's worth of debt or something like that. And I was like, huh? And she was on the same money as me. So she started on 12 grand. I started on 12 grand, which is fuck all for saying you were making a ridiculous amount on this insurance. But the difference was, she had her journey where she went through school, smashed everything, went to uni, smashed everything, and then stayed at the same job as me. And I was like, I've been in a chocolate factory for 5.5 years, learning how to smoke weed.
Yeah.
And you're literally a uni graduate who's passed with honours, and we are now the same person. And I'm going to outperform you because I can sell.
Life experience.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I get like mates in the trade of filmmaking, which I do, like videography, and I'm the exact same. I don't want to call myself a videographer because I've got that imposter syndrome that I've just YouTube tutorialed everything or found my own little ways by accident, and they're still coming to me and going, Mikey, like, how do you get clients? I see you working with people all the time. You're doing a music video here, you've got these guys on the spin and these are happening. nobody's coming to me, and I've got 4 degrees in this, and I've got like all the certificates, and I've worked for this company or did work here. Now they're freelancing. They're like, no one's coming.
No.
But it's that they don't have that ability to push past like 5 o'clock, I suppose. It's like, when the time's up, they're just like, right, that's shutting off time. You got to be messaging people every minute and going around meeting people, talking, high-fiving, and just trying to vibe with it.
But I think it's not just having charisma, or
and that's not coming from a narcissistic perspective.
No, but it's engaging. Like, I think the thing is, you can work out a prick pretty quick. It's like the amount of people that will try and either blow smoke up your arse or tell you like, oh, you're the best. Can I have one of these? You're like, fucking right, mate, chill out.
Speaking the jargon.
Mate, well, if I was paid for jobs that I got fucked over on, I would probably have a good 20 grand extra. And it's my own fault, but it's a big learning curve. Because the amount of times when I'd say to someone that I looked up to, oh, I'll make you a website. And they're like, okay, I'll let you make me a website. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. It's going to be amazing. And I'd sit up all night and do it and send them a picture. And they're like, yeah, I don't want it now. I'm like, oh, okay. And the problem is, it's that people on a pedestal again, because it's like, well, hold on a minute. I got to feed my fucking kids. So I think when you can work that out and realise, like you were saying, you've got someone who's saying, how the fuck are you getting all this work? And it's like, because I'm working really hard. You don't always see the analogy of the swan.
You can't teach that at uni, though. You can't go to a lecture, and maybe some will, and some good ones, but often they're just teaching you the things to pass this grade or get you through this exam. But to actually say, listen, kids, you got to feel pain, you've got to get angry, you've got to get tired, you've got to get through all these hard things to push through. Or what do you call it? This tenacity you've got to build up.
But
that's a different game.
But I think that will come, especially if you've come from nothing. You hear a lot of these stories about famous people, actors, different things that have come from nothing. And I'm not saying that my parents didn't give us anything, because they gave us everything they could, and we didn't want for anything. But it wasn't as easy. I grew up in Duffield, which is super affluent. Well, I thought it was super affluent. When I then work at Egg, the credit card company, and I have the same pricks that didn't give me any tip for delivering their paper all year. Like, one bitch came out, no shit, right? I still call her a bitch to her face, fucker. I delivered the Trader on a Thursday, which I fucking hated, because you had to put the leaflets in yourself. I despised it, but I needed a bit of scratch. And I did a Telegraph run, so that was every day. So I can remember once I was going out and I was doing my paper round on my BMX, fucking flying around, doing all these runs. One day this lady stopped me. She went, oh, Dave. So I turned around and I didn't get a chance to say, I'm not Dave. And she grabbed my hand like a nana. And so I grabbed my hand and put this Mars bar in my hand and went, thank you, lovey. I really appreciate you. And I was like, but I've delivered papers to this woman for, I don't know, 2 years. And I said, oh, what's this for? And she went, for bringing the whatever paper. And I was like, oh, no, I'm the Telegraph. Because she still paid for it. It was from the news agent. She went, are you not Dave? I was like, no. She took it off me. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just took it straight back. And to me, that's like, hold on a minute. What the fuck are you doing? But I can't remember what I was trying to say now.
I was thinking a little Owen then in my head.
Heartbroken.
I don't want to see you through that, brother.
Yeah, mate, but there's a lot of people. What were you talking
about? Coming from nothing.
Sorry. So coming from nothing, and you see people that are trying to get somewhere, and like they've got this wicked story about the struggle that they've come through and now what they've got. But I think a lot of that just comes from stories. So when we did the school tour, I could tell when I was telling a story, and it could be a funny story. Like the first thing I'd do when I got to a school is like, are you cool if I swear? Because I'm not saying that I'm trying to teach, like, all children are to swear. These are all 15-year-old kids that are about to, like, they're about to leave year 11.
Going to the real world.
They know what a fuckhead is. They know what a dipshit is. They know how to avoid a fuck clown. But
context again.
It's fine if you don't want me to use that language. And there was a couple of schools like, listen, these are your kids for an hour. Just talk to them. And the big difference to me was, I can change a story immediately. So if I know that they don't need to hear about this side of a hustle. They need to know about that side of a struggle, or whatever element it was. Or if I'm telling them about Thornton's and about how a fucking pallet of chocolates fell over and trapped an old lady in it for 2 days, or whatever it takes to engage them, I've got that in the chamber. But it was never about study hard, stay up, do this. Because to me, I use Jane as an example from university when I'm sat next to her egg, and I use me. And I was at Sam's playing Command and Conquer Red Alert, failing everything. My fault.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to learn.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to be engaged.
That's
I didn't
saying
care.
Earlier, like, for the now.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
Yeah. And I think boys and girls massively learn at a different rate.
Yeah.
Like my kids are probably they're definitely cleverer than I was at that age. This is the cat and the dog.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is like I watched World War II in colour. Fucking fascinated. And I could have watched anything I wanted. I've got all the channels in the world, sat watching some shit on Discovery Channel. But then that can engage loads of other bits. And I think the more you want to learn, the more you take on. So like you say in the school of YouTube, as a designer, I've got a video that I watch constantly to work out how to get the text to go the opposite way in a circle.
Yeah, okay.
So instead of the Roman numerals keep following, you can do them the other way.
Sick. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So even though I know how to do it, it's like me saying to you now, how do you do specifically this? You don't always remember from there. Like, 1 minute. Oh, it's this.
In fact, I always fuck up. When I'm trying to show somebody something I know absolutely by the Bible, I'm like, I could do this. And then I get on their computer and I'm starting showing them, and I'm like, fucking can't remember. Like,
I feel like a prick.
It's gone, yeah.
But I think, because everyone makes mistakes, and the nicest thing for me was, because obviously people will look at me funny. Like I've had people come in, and I mean, one of the big people that took a massive chance on me was Wayne. So there's a gym in Nottingham called Fourth Dimension. That's how I met Dan and the lads and all the rest of it.
Cool.
But basically, when I was at Egg, about to be made redundant, I was doing jiu-jitsu at Fourth Dimension. So my mate China said, and Tony, they said, come over, we've got to go and do this, see this new gym. And I was like, yeah, okay, no worries. So I nipped over, and before you know it, I was doing a load of work with him. And basically he said, you can have an office, you can do this and that. And I was like, fucking hell, that's amazing. Because I'd never really had that kind of support.
Yeah.
But he was a similar sort of guy that learns by doing. And he could obviously see something in me. So he said, listen, you come here, you've got an office, no problem. But he started getting me a bit of work. So as soon as he could see what I was capable of, he was selling that to certain people, going, oh, you need a logo? I've got a guy. Come and see us. Oh, you need a website? I've got a guy. Which was gold. And it was never like a hard sell. It was just, everyone needs something, and I was part of that something they needed that day. So these two lads came over, and my sleeves, I had a jumper on, like this. I don't think I had a hat on. I just had my geeky glasses.
I can't imagine you with that hat on.
Mate,
holy shit.
It's weird. I've never really been thought I've
You're
always
the
wear
hat
hats.
guy.
I've got hair. And so I sat there, and these two big lads came walking in. All right, fam. I was like, yeah, not bad. He was like, yeah, see. I'm thinking about starting this brand. It's going to be a jewellery brand, isn't it? And I was like, okay, safe. Yeah, wicked. No problem. What type of jewellery are you selling? He was like, luxury jewellery. And I was like, cool. That sounds wicked. What do you want to call it? He was like, that's it though, innit? Luxury jewellery. I went, luxury jewellery. When you think Gucci, what do you think of? And he was like, yeah, that's it. Same, innit? Like, Gucci, Versace, better than Breitlings, all that thing, man. Like proper luxury. And I was like, if it's proper luxury, you don't call it proper luxury. You call it shit or something. You like just trying to give him a marketing angle. And he was kind of standoffish. And there was the pair of them, and they were, as much as they were engaged because they knew where they were getting something cheap, everything I was doing, they weren't that really bothered about.
I get you.
And he's like, yeah, it's all right, but it's like a bit sketchy. I'm thinking something like, and like show me like the Gucci G's.
Right,
I was like, we can't just copy, and luxury doesn't start with a G, but we'll carry on. So we're going through all this different shit with him. And then I literally, because I was in this office, I got red hot. So I took my jumper off and obviously exposed.
Yeah.
Both sleeves. I got tattoos all over me, like all up my sides, everywhere. So obviously when I'm taking my top off, and I didn't think anything of it. Within seconds,
demeanor change.
It's like, oh, safe, bro. Listen, anyway, right, my man.
It was like one of them, like proper.
I thought you was like a proper geek and thing, but the thing as it goes, like I trust, man. Yes, I feel what you're saying now, bro. Yes. Safety. Okay, right. Leave it with me. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And turns out we got on. He was sounding off and all the rest of it, but it was just that difference of being treated in such a weird way. And I know that goes back to like what I was saying earlier about how you don't necessarily see, because of the privilege you've been afforded, I can't stand to think that people are treated like, he's got a tattoo, fucking run. It's like, bro,
I remember
they're just drawings.
Went to the lakes to give a talk, and they were all head teachers. And me, someone that's been kicked out of school like yourself, like being taught by teachers or teaching teachers is such a weird experience for me. But we went to the lakes, and I was staying in a 5-star hotel with a chaise lounge, like all that stuff. And I'm like, I've fucking made it. I don't know how I've made it. I don't know
at me.
who I had to go on the path with, but I've done it somehow, and it felt amazing. I got downstairs, and this the main head teacher who's organised all the heads, and there's about 100 of them, and he's just panicking. He's panicking his balls off because he's like, the fucking speakers aren't here. Where's the fucking speakers? Like going around like, and he's speaking like proper tongue. He's like, these speakers are not turned up, and they're doing all that. And then he comes to me and he's like, I'm just panicking, and I'm like, mate, I'm the speaker. You've been talking. I kept trying to tell you, and then he's like,
chill the fuck out.
You. And then he put on, it's because I've got this cap on, I've got my shorts on, I've got flip flops on. I've just treated it as a holiday. But then I get up and I do my story, and I've got. It's funny what you were saying earlier about like having context with your stories, because this tattoo up here. This comes from like a big story of a breakup and then some acid trips and psychedelic experiences and all things like that. But it's a big moment to me. But I have to go to primary schools and teach. So I don't do the acid bit.
No.
But I teach them about like the pain that this come through and why I got it done. Anyway, I tell these stories and losing a friend to a knife crime incident and a few things. And I look at this guy who wrote me off straight away. And he's just turned me on. And he's just crying his eyes out. I look over and he's just like in bits.
Yeah.
And he come up to me after and he's like, you had me fucking in bits right then. I was crying and he was like, I thought you were going to be shit. I thought you were just a guy that didn't care. And yeah, it's funny that first initial response you get when you've turned up because this is what you're comfortable in and this is how you're best comfortable, but they've got this idea in the head of what a keynote speaker should be like or what somebody...
But it's that perception. I think there's so much to be taken from nowadays. I mean, we're super fortunate that social will connect you with everyone. But unfortunately, it exposes you to everyone. So it's one of them things where I only ever want to be myself.
I won't work anywhere where they don't let me have a hat on.
No, and that's like even
this is what I do.
When I was at Egg, I wore flip-flops.
Yeah.
I always wear flip-flops. It's like today.
Matey.
Today is the first day I've put proper jeans on, and because
you're not a flip-flop brother.
I'm always in my Avis. I've got like 1,000 pairs of flip-flops, and I live in them. So when I was at Egg, it was the same deal, and they bought in. So it was Egg that was owned by Prudential.
Sorry, have you got any full Reptile flip-flops? Because I would fucking love
I've been
some.
developing them, but to make them, it's not like you can make a pair and try them. Like I had one woman, she says, I make amazing flip-flops. They're the same as Aviana's.
They will be my life and soul.
Well, that's what I was hoping for, and she sent them through and they were shit.
Yeah,
so I was like, okay, well, you're going to go in the maybe pile, which is basically the bin. So it'll do, won't do. It's got to be perfect. So I've kind of got them, and then Jimmy Warled, who's the partner in the gym, which is obviously Hardy Warled. I gave Dan a pair of gym flip-flops that I was super proud of, that was more slides, the same as you're wearing. And I was like, oh, where are they? I've given him Jimmy. And anyone that knows Jimmy, he's like the hardest man in the world. You just don't try and take something back off him. He's a pussycat, but if you take something off him, it's not good. But what was I saying?
Blimey, where were we going with this?
Flip-flops at Egg.
Took you away with the flip-flops.
And they changed the dress code. So basically, bear in mind, it's a closed room. No one can see you, ever. And we got sold, bought, and this was just before we were bought. We were bought by Citibank, which was probably the worst company I've ever worked for in my entire life. They were just trying to make whatever they could. They were trying to squeeze a bit more juice out of this fucking squashed raspberry. It was gone, but they were just desperate. And so they changed the dress code and you can't wear flip-flops. Ladies can't have a string for a strap. It's got to be at least a 3mm. Whatever the fuck it was, there was a person, it was their job to write this shit list that they were being paid more than me to enforce this fucking horrible rule because Fat Cindy felt bad that she can't wear a fucking string vest.
It's so true.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, get a fucking grip.
Like Cindy because she'll feel bad about herself.
Well, it's just get a grip. I'm not saying that you go over to go, all right, Fatty, do you want another breakfast cob?
Yeah.
But she's not going to stop doing whatever she's doing to get down the path she's going down. But I'm not criticising her for it. But don't don't restrict me because I wear flip-flops. It's like, well, it's not what you do in a bank. This isn't a fucking normal bank, dickhead.
Yeah.
So you always had that kind of weird vibe. And there was one woman that she policed it. So she basically got an email one day, and she was quite a happy-go-lucky woman. Got this email saying that her T-shirt's inappropriate. Please don't wear it again. To which, within seconds, she had emailed back, throwing me under the bus, about 6 other people. Well, Owen, on the Monday, he wore this, and then such and such, wear that. And I was like, are you fucking mad? You've just been told, like, just don't wear that shirt. But, like, own it.
Yeah.
And she just lost her fucking mind.
Wow.
But it's those type of people. I mean, I know, because she became my manager.
Militant
Puritans.
Just
dickheads.
Yeah, not Puritans.
No,
dickheads.
just a dickhead, double dickhead. But it's. I put it down like there's a lot of really sad people. You know, people that they have to take power from their position. It's like, I feel super fortunate that my job, I get to hang out with fucking cool people and make cool shit. And not everyone even my family look at me and they're like, oh yeah, working today. I'm like, yeah, I am. But they see it, it's just a fuck about and just a laugh. But I'm just really lucky, and I put a lot of work into.
Why isn't that what we've made life to be?
Why should we all be doing that? Well, this one woman, before I got made redundant, I was due a pay review. So basically, the redundancy package at Egg was a month for every year you'd been there, and I'd been there 10 years.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, yo. I haven't had a pay rise for 5 years because we've always faced redundancy. But I sat down with my boss at the time. I was like, yo, what we saying? Let's fucking pop me up by like $5,000. I'm not going to be here for 2 more months. So you're not even going to use it. But at least then for every month, I'm going to get that little bit on top of that, which just gives me a bit more. Because at the time, my wife was pregnant. I got made redundant in November for gardening leave. And we had Libya in January. So I was like, bro, this isn't your money. This is the best scenario ever. Just fucking hook me up.
Yeah.
So you put me up by a few grand, which is justified because that was my fucking wage. Barclays will pay that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? And she's like, I definitely can't do that. And I was like, of course you fucking can. Like, I've earned it. I've smashed my targets. I've overachieved. Yeah, well, we just can't do that.
Oh,
so,
my life.
But she was one of them people that
stuck as well, just on a repeat.
Yeah, you can't win.
The vinyl's going round, and it's
exactly.
Like,
yeah, it looks like we're going back on this path.
Fuck.
And
no humanity.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind, she was always right.
Yeah,
Never wrong. Ever wrong. She was always fucking right. And to a fault, like one of these people that you'd tell something like, at the time, Dave Gorman did a video called Google Whack. I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
So basically, a Google Whack is when you Google something and there's one hit. And you know Dave Gorman is. He's a comedian, fucking genius. And I'd watch this Google Whack, and it was the same. It was before mass internet, and there was internet on phones. It was still normal phones, not smartphones. So I got in, I was like, yo, has everyone seen this? Let's talk about this. And I was fucking buzzing. And she was like, that's stupid. That's not even a thing. Just fucking dismissed it. But 6 months later, came in and was like, I watched a program last night called Google Whack. It was amazing. And you know when you're like, oh, just fuck off. The most humbling thing, the best thing that ever happened, because I immediately, from leaving, I was already doing websites. So I got made redundant, but I already had Wayne at the gym, who had his wife's nail salon, this fighter, that fighter, this gym, blah, blah, blah. And he had a load of things lined up for me. And it wasn't like big money, but it was a lot of test trade for me to learn my craft.
And where you wanted to be.
Exactly. And this lady, my boss at the time, went into the same industry. So she went in and did the same thing. And after about, I think it was a year, we all went to like a reunion.
Okay.
And I walked in, and I was not Billy Big Bollocks. I didn't know anyone special. I hadn't done anything over achieving or anything. And she's like, oh my God, I've seen your stuff. How are you doing it? I was like, I don't know. Yours is shit. And she's got a normal job now. She's back in that same shitty grind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're just stuck in that way, stuck in that box, and like telling you this is the way to do it, and then not branching out. And it feels to me you're somebody that's constantly learning, constantly adapting.
I just want to play the game. I just want to play the game. Like I just like to think everyone's important. They've got their own little bits. Like the same team that I was in, there's a girl in that team. I think I've told this story on Dan's podcast. So it's one of the things that really fucking boils my piss. And we used to go upstairs, and when I was at Egg, I was really fortunate because I got to know all the security staff, all the canteen staff, all the coffee staff. And so I always like to think I look after the little person. Growing up, my mum's a cleaner. I didn't ever look down my nose at that or consider that was a bad thing because she's hustling and she's making a living and she's looking after kids. So to me, like if you said to me now, you have to go and be a Domino's pizza box and stand out, and I'd do that. If that meant that's what's going to feed the kids, that's what I'd do. I don't stop hustling. So this girl, we went upstairs and she was a fucking snooty-nosed bitch. But self-entitled.
Yeah.
No real achievement. She hadn't really set the world on fire. She'd never done anything that anyone could ever go, oh my God, have you seen that girl? She's the best. She was just a bit of a stuck-up snob.
Yeah.
And I came into the team, and obviously I am who I am.
Yeah.
So you're just going to fucking get it. Now, at the end of the day, if you don't like me, you don't have to talk to me, but don't engage with me because you're going to get a mouthful back that you're definitely not going to like. I don't like shaming people, but it's really fucking easy if you've upset me. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
I can imagine being on
my
the
rage.
other side.
My rage is like always trickling. I'm kind of mellow, but then if you flick the pages of that rage book, then
it's always ready. It's on go,
and it's almost too much too quick. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, probably shouldn't have said that. So. We went up to the canteen, and like I say, so all the staff used to look after me. So if I wanted a coffee, Sarah would hook me up. She was the fucking best. So I go up there, and I could have the MD. I could have the fucking CEO stood with me. I go, do you want a coffee? And they're like, yeah, can do. And they try and pay, and I'm like, oh no, it's sorted. And because I've got a bit of a fucking side hustle going with them. Yeah. Same as the car parking staff.
Always had it going.
I'm meant to pay this much a day, but no, I've got to deal with the parking staff. Don't worry. I pay them in porn. It's all good. So it was always good. I always had. And for me, it meant more to me that I didn't pay parking than having to try and be a team leader and suck someone off to get to a fucking ridiculous position that meant nothing.
Sniff their farts. And
Exactly.
Just tell them they're great.
But all these people, like there was a lot of good people there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really good people that I really admire and respect, and there's a lot of other shit fucks that were just absolute mouth breathing arseholes that literally they wouldn't have a skill if it slapped them in the face. But they were there, and obviously they knew someone that got them into a nice position. Anyway, so when we go upstairs to the canteen, we had breakfast. We used to make a thing of having a team breakfast, which at first I thought it was really lovely because my original team leader, when I went into this team, was the nicest person you'd ever meet. She was an absolute sweetheart. Her name was Fizz. I don't mind telling you her name because she was a fucking legend. Absolutely. She's still going. It's not like she died, but she is a fucking legend. So she used to do this team breakfast, which was fucking awesome because I had a team that I fucking hated, went over to this team and I was like, this is the best. We did a little quiz in the Metro paper, everyone going, we're a bit of a ragtag bunch of misfits that was kind of got together, and there's me and Dan that are like youngish and all this other team, but there's this one girl. We went upstairs, had breakfast, and then the next day we went up and she went in. She's turned her fucking nose inside out, put a tray down, looked at her and went, how disgusting, and started chastising all the canteen staff and going a bit fucking crazy.
Oh, mate.
And I was like, and I just, bear in mind, I didn't really sit anywhere near her. Now, these tables were from me to probably the end of the bus. They were all like halfway. They were fucking massive, big old oak tables with benches. I sat down and I sort of stuck my head around the thing. I went, all right? And she went, and I knew all the staff.
Oh,
and they were sound. They were fucking good people.
Yeah, of course.
And
feeding their kids.
Yeah, and they're just making their hustle, doing their fucking paying their bills. So I just went, all right? And she went, this is disgusting. I went, do it again?
Mate.
She went, I'm absolutely appalled. And I was like, whoa. Just, what are you telling me? Because everyone else is reading the paper, doing their thing, because she's making a bit of a scene. Now, I love causing a scene.
Yeah.
I don't give one fuck. I'll stand up and scream.
I'll ride with you, baby.
Yeah, let's fucking go, because we bought the ticket. Yeah. Let's take the fucking ride. Don't for 1 minute think you can fucking... Don't open this can without you fucking looking like shit. So she sat at the end of the table and she's fucking kicking off. So I went, go on. And she went, this mess on this table is unacceptable. And I went, all right, well, one sec, I'll get you a napkin. She went, no. It's been there all day. I went, what the fuck has been there all day? She went, and it was tomato juice from like just tinned tomatoes. And it was just a bit of shit. It was quite a big mess, but like it was obvious either don't sit there or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, how the fuck do you know it's been there all day? No, all day and all night. I went, all right. How the fuck do you know it's been there all day and all night? She goes, because I left it here yesterday.
Oh,
bro,
mate.
I fucking slammed the chair back, and obviously everyone's on the bench, and I was like, are you fucking mad?
She left. Oh,
who are you?
Get my gears, man. Yeah.
But who the fuck are you?
Entitled.
Completely entitled.
Why have you not wiped my mess up?
In a self-clearing canteen. So it's not even like it was a fucking table service. It was basically a canteen. But, I mean, since then, she's had kids. I don't know if she's mellowed or changed, but...
Fingers crossed.
I'd always love to ask people then back and sort of go, oh, remember when you did that? Remember when you were an absolute fucking
crazy,
spiral cunt? Remember?
Didn't need to do that, did you?
No, but I think the entitled element for me just fucking... I don't know, it just makes me want to fight, makes me want to hurt people because, like I say, my mum was a cleaner. My dad struggled. He's a self-taught joiner. He's fucking amazing at what he does. And you look at people that have just struggled and tried and tried and tried. And then there's other people that have sort of gifted just like immunity.
So like, I don't think it's always like people that haven't had anything, but it's just people that have hurt before or been through struggle. If you've been through struggle and you felt the taste of that other side, you don't want other people to go through it. Like I'll go to McDonald's and I'll be ending up looking at myself cleaning up for everybody and putting stuff because I'm like, it's not the cleaner's duty to have to do all this. Like people are just like, yeah, she can do it. It's her job. It's like, mate, she's just trying to get by. It's like being at a pub
and taking your glass back to the bar.
Yeah, simple. If you've got that attitude, it's showing what sort of person you are and how, like, if you're, do you know Andy Frisella?
No.
He got a podcast out and he's just started from nothing again, was a homeless person, now he's got like I think it might be £1 billion businesses, but he said like something really profound to me on a podcast, and it was like, if you have a piss on a seat and you just leave it there, that shows so much about your character. And he's not a metaphor, literal. If you're not going to clean that piss up afterwards and you're leaving it for the next person, you're not going to make a business. You're not going to start anything in life because you're going to cut corners and you're just not bothered or proud on yourself.
But you're going to cut corners and you're going to make people that are the same and they are equally as shit as you. And that's why we still like... And I don't want to fucking harp on about stupid racism and religion and all this shit because I find it really difficult because I'm not a religious person myself. But, like, when you look at something like that is as fundamental as racism, if you go back to the days when there was the segregation, fuck all has changed apart from they took signs down because they were a bit embarrassed of it, realistically. Like, there's still that massive segregation, there's still a problem, but that is born from shit people not being held accountable and not teaching their kids. So, like, to use the collective as an example, so there's all of us have kids other than Dan. Dan's not got kids because he had a fight career, and obviously that's something that's going to come. But I've got my 2, Ollie's got his 3, Wad's got 2, Dean's got 2. They're the most important thing, more than anything. Because if one of them goes out and says something or does something out of line and they're not held accountable, then it just manifests that shit feeling. If everyone had always been held accountable from day one to be like, have your legs slapped or whatever, and just being pulled into line, because you don't have to be a shithead. The difference for me is like, Libby called someone a top hat the other day. It's fucking hilarious. And the guy was a top hat in the film, but it's not like she won't play with her cousin because she's mixed race, because that's not how she's been brought up. But for me, like you were saying about if you piss on that seat and you don't clean it up, same as like when people litter or they chuck stuff about, or like,
just shows a lot about who you are.
Yeah, you know, when I go for a walk, I take my 3 dogs every day. I roll a cheeky cone, I go for a walk, I clear my head, and the path that I walk down is very thin, but it is always full of bottles, cans, mad shit that I'm like,
been down the similar path.
Where the fuck is your mum? Not slapped your legs for that time when you didn't put that in the bin. Because I'm not saying that. I can remember once when my sister were driving along, and this is back in the day, like the 80s. We were driving along in a big old silver Cortina, and all we were doing was throwing shit out the window. Because my mum ran a catering business at one point, and she had like a pack of, say, 1,000 napkins. And if you've ever held a napkin out a window at speed, you get a full on, and then it poof, gone, and it was hitting windows behind us. We thought it was fucking brilliant. When my mum found out,
oh god,
I reckon I could show you scars.
Yeah.
And she was like the Wild West. She could pull a slipper out, hit you around the face, put the slipper back on, and you wouldn't even know what the fuck's gone off. But I needed that because the thing is, a lot of shit can be fun. If you take a sledgehammer to this bus, it could be fun for a minute, but tidying up's wank. It's fully wank. So I think there's a lot of times when you need to, I don't know, there's a little bit of that accountability, and then I think the hardest thing is being a parent that has those sort of ideals, that then you start meeting other parents that you didn't grow up with, you weren't friends with, you don't know their background or whatever, and then you find them, meet their little kids. And there's always a bit of a shithead.
There really is.
There's very often a shithead. Like, just a little lad that'll come and go, "What's your name?" Smack. You know, let me hurt you in a bit. Do you know what I mean?
He's just expressing himself. He's just expressing
Yeah.
himself. It's like, the onus is on you. You're the adult. You've got to teach this little young person how to behave.
If they've got to 18 and they're still pissing on a seat, it's a bigger problem. Even worse is when they piss on the seat and they think they're entitled enough to then chastise some other poor bastard that hasn't fucking cleaned it up. And that's the thing.
I think most of my mentors have come from sports teams, or when I was boxing, things like that. It was always... like, we'd get in the ring, we'd smash each other up, I'd do pads, I'd have a hard workout, but afterwards we'd have to clean down everything. We'd have to, and it was all the respect given. It's always come through a mentor like Gordon Watson, who was a big coach of mine in Kilburn, and he always give me these, like, the principles. It's more than just fighting, it's more than just that. Or my rugby coaches would always be like, we play the game, but afterwards you've got to hug all the lads, you clap them off, you shake their hands and all that. And I've been given all these respectful ways of being, but it was from sports, to be honest. Always taught me in that way.
I think I had similar experience. I mean, I used to ride motorbike trials. So I used to ride trials, which is similar to motocross, but it's just dead slow. You're going up and down over rocks and stuff. And I come on, one of the first weeks I got there, and my dad took me, and I was like, I'd been riding motorbikes since I was about 6. So I could ride a bike, but I couldn't do what all these other guys were doing. And at one point, my dad stood there, and he'd taken me to this event. We weren't members. We were just... He's got a lot of hustle. I learned a lot of my hustle and haggling and bartering off my dad, because he is a fucking legend. So when it came to, like, getting us into this new sport and this new thing, he was like, all right, well, I'll just get us in. He would drive somewhere with no inclination of paying or anything. It was just a case of, what are you going to do when you get there? It's like, we'll work it out. Don't fucking worry about it. Which, that's my way of doing stuff. I don't plan fuck all, because
I'm piecing the jigsaw together.
It'll be all right. Yeah, it'll be all right,
I'm getting
man.
an understanding.
Yeah,
You've had cool people in your life, cool dads.
And so that's kind of what's driven me. Like, every time when someone worries about something, like, it'll be all right. Like, my kids are worriers sometimes. Like, with certain things, but what if? And I'm like, fuck what if? Like, don't tell what to fuck off and tell if to do one. It's like, it doesn't matter. So when we'd go, this one kid was going through a section and fell off, which I laughed. And my dad just squeezed my hand a little bit, because I was like, I don't know, 9. Squeezed my hand, and then he didn't want to embarrass me in front of everyone. Which,
but
that's sometimes a lesson. But then he took me to one side. I said, dude, you can't do that. You can't fucking... Imagine if you were doing that and someone fucking laughed at you. And I was like, oh, shit. And that was one massive lesson.
That's cool.
And then my other massive... like, I've got mentors. So I've got my dad, Doug. Wayne Kirk's been a massive, massive, massive help. The guy who runs the gym. Obviously, Dan and his family that have accepted me for what I am. And even like the collective, the whole collective that have taken me for what I am, rather than... you make us some money, but turn that off when no one's looking, because it's kind of overbearing. But turn it back up again to make some money, because I'm not into that. But so I've got a lot of people that I admire and respect. But there was a lady when I was at Thornton's, and I was doing a job called filling up, and basically there was a conveyor belt with, say, I don't know, 20 people. And the box gets put on this end. Then a former gets put inside, which is a plastic
Glad
crinkly.
You didn't say dicks.
There's a lady.
Now fill him up.
I'm going to fill all these up. Wow. So that's a bad fucking conveyor belt. So basically, the box gets put on, and then the first person puts their 2 chocolates in, next and next and next. So that's where you're packing, right? Yeah. So I was on the other side of the belt filling up. So I would shove a tray under the belt. So when you finish that one, you chuck it back to me, pull a tray under, and off you go. And I was 16. I had the fucking biggest balls you've ever seen. I was like Conor McGregor on steroids. I just walked with all this fucking swagger. I was like 5 foot tall, spotty as fuck, looked about 11, just a proper double dickhead. And I got involved in everyone's shit all the time. And I can see my daughter doing it quite often now. Like, me and Stacey will be having a conversation, be like, what's that? And I can't be the one that slaps her straight out of this habit. It has to be someone else. And I was walking up and down the belt. Now, bear in mind, I've got 20 people. So there's like 10 different conversations happening, because you're pretty much only talking one side or the other, aren't you? And this one woman was fucking going on and on and on. And I went over and went, what's that? And she went, you know, fucking you, right? I see you do this every fucking day. You get involved in every conversation. And she was rough, and she could have knocked the shit out of me. And she gave me this dressing down, which I desperately needed.
An ego punch.
Mate, it beat the fuck out of my ego. Honestly, it just...
You had an ego death without doing any of the psychedelics.
I couldn't cry. I couldn't react. Like my lip, I couldn't even talk. I was like, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. And honestly, man.
Mate, okay.
But
okay.
It was the biggest lesson I ever had, because she basically just said,
fuck off.
Just know your fucking audience, dickhead. Because she was talking, turned out she's talking to a friend about something super deep. About a partner and a problem and fucking domestic violence. All this shit. And I've just gone talking to fucking Disco Dave about curly whirlies and what's it.
I do what I want.
Yeah. And I come back over and I'm like, oh, what's your story? Tell me about your domestic violence. And she was like, you fucking see you. And
because they're your entertainment as well for the day. You can be involved. Man.
And the majority of the time, you'd have a lot of banter.
Sell their story to other people. Oh,
yeah, mate. And I love having a chat with people. I love to know, like, it doesn't matter. Anyone could have started. There was a lot of people, you know what it's like when you work there. It was a revolving door. You did 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it would have been an interesting story for a week, but then you're gone. So I had a load of different stories.
Well, I've got that mindset like at school when I got told I'd stole a pen or something. I know I hadn't. I'm a man of principles. I'm like, I don't fucking do that. I wouldn't do it. And our teachers are telling me I have.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off. And this is in primary school. And I just walked out. I just started walking. I'm like, fuck this. I didn't do it. So I go home.
Yeah.
And then my mum's come back to tell me off. And I said, they've told me I stole a pen and I haven't. So I've walked out, and she's like, fair play to you. But I did that in Thornton's. It was like this. I'm the guy that's like always, fuck it. I'm in Thornton's, but I'm going to make the best of the situation. So I'm dancing on the aisles. I'm like, yo, bro, how you doing? And the boss came over to me one day, and this Polish fella, but he went, oi, what are you doing? I was like, packing boxes like everyone else. He's like, not like that, you're not.
Yeah.
And I just was, so I remember like quite poetically, but I'm like crying into chocolates. Like, I fucking hate it here. And then I'm talking to people on my aisle, and he goes to me, right, come here, you. And he just put me like doing all the stickers and doing that on a corner with nobody there. And I remember I'm very dramatic, so I'm like, this is a big moment. So I just threw everything off the aisles, stomped out, and I was like, right, fuck you, and then walked out.
Yeah.
It's the Mikey show.
But fuck that guy. But that would have felt way better than even if you punched him in the mouth.
Yeah. But it's a story to tell. I remember it.
I don't get why people feel... A lot of people feel they have to drag someone else down. Do you know what I mean? It has to be
show
shit.
Their power. Look how powerful.
Oh, powerful.
Look how strong I am. I've never been given this power position before, so I'm going to enforce it where I can, and I've got say over people's lives. And I can't deal with that for myself. I'm not that person. I've got a business, and I have people for when we have a festival or when we have stuff on here. I have to be a boss.
Yeah.
But like you say, they can wear what they want. If my accountant comes and is in his suit and tie, sick, or if my mate comes and is in whatever he wants to come in, we're all just a team.
Mate.
And you've got to delegate them, but in that loving way. Just show it with love.
But if you're stoned and in shorts, but you get your job done,
that's it.
What's the fucking problem?
Number one, yeah.
What is the fucking problem? And it kind of, it makes you look back when you can reflect. I worked at Bacon's, the shoe shop, got sacked from there for being too helpful. An old lady, no shit. An old lady used to come in. Edna, she was lovely. She used to come in, and she used to come in and tell me about bingo. And I work slippers, so I'm there putting fucking footballs on the shelf. You remember novelty slippers? I used to have to fill them fuckers up. And the whole principle was you have to fill up the shelves before you talk to someone.
Oh fucking hell! Yeah, I had this in a cafe.
So even if they said, "Excuse me, have you got this as a size 5?" I'm like, shelves are empty, so give me a second. Yeah, don't fucking talk. So I got sacked from there. Then I was at Thornton's for 5.5 years.
I know at this cafe that I worked at, I know people came in to see me because I just wanted to have a chat. There were old people that had nothing else to do with their lives. So they come to get a coffee, but the real reason was they wanted to just talk to someone.
They needed someone.
And I would be there and I would just listen all day. And I remember my boss came over and goes, this is not your job. Get back in there and do that. And it fucking sent me south, that did. I was like, this person needs me this moment.
Yeah, it
They've
kind of
come
breaks
to
your
see
heart,
me.
right? Yeah.
There's nobody else in. The fucking back of the shelf does not need dusting for the 100th time today.
No.
But they want you to just do that because they're paying you.
But it's kind of that envy as well, because they're not there to see them.
Yeah.
They're not there to have their... They need their ego stroking.
But we're good for that business because I know people will come in through that door just to get out of the way and just to
But
have
that's
a
what you
chat.
want.
Yeah, I know. Very much reflected to what you said then.
Well, that's happened a lot with me. I mean, I can remember I nearly got iced out by a guy at Thornton's. I used to wink a lot. I would wink at a lot of people.
I've got a nervous wink.
Yeah, I've seen your wink.
Fucking terrible. Got me in so much trouble when I'm with girls.
Mate, the thing is...
Are you coming on to me? I'm not trying to. I've really got it now.
My angle now is, listen, I am no threat. I'm fucking married. I have 2 kids, 3 dogs. You don't have to... I am not sexually aggressive in any fucking way, shape or form. I'm the most mellow dude. If I wink at you, it's because it's like a smile.
What I do.
That's all it is, yeah. So there was a guy, the Thorntons again, and I needed some bows or ribbons or whatever they were. And I said to this girl, I said, can you pass me some ribbons, Doc? Because she had the box full of ribbons and I'm on the wrong side. She was like... She took this bit of a deep breath, like a real dramatic fuck you pause, and passed me these things. I was like, nice one. Carried on working. Now, bear in mind, when I was there, I was still with Stace. It's the same fucking relationship.
Yeah.
So, as the whole belt finishes, you go to break. Whoever stops putting a box on, their timer starts from the minute that box is not on. So you get 13 minutes.
Yeah.
So whoever's putting the first box on, so if me and you are having dinner together and you're at the end and I'm at the beginning, we're probably going to have a total of about 2 minutes together because I'm going back before you finished.
Yeah.
So I literally put this thing on and I went to run and this guy went, 1 minute, mate. And I was like, okay, who are you? And this guy fucking took me up against this wall and he was like, you wink at my missus. And I was like, not that I can think of. Which one is she? Point her out. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I've gone...
She wasn't that special to me, mate.
She's got good tits. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? And he went, her. And like, literally, she stood opposite me, but like looking all shy. And I was like,
oh, fucking hell.
when did I wink at you? And she went, you asked for bows and then winked. And I was like,
for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's like a thank you.
Yeah.
But don't worry.
Cheers.
Let me show you a picture of my girlfriend, soon-to-be wife. You fucking maniac. Like,
yeah.
But it's that super insecure, aggro, maniac fuckhead that I'm not built for aggro. Because
and narcissistic, that you're just a little passing figure in her life. You're a tiny little thing, but no, you must want her. You must be a massive part. Do you know what I mean?
Could be further from the truth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She stinks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've had it too.
But I get it a lot. And I think for me, I manage a lot through story. I like to tell people a lot of different random fucking stupid stories. I think that's part of my commitment to our brand. Like, the thing is, the whole head of the brand is Dan. The fact that Dan's had this amazing career, he's now a colour commentator.
Who actually did you draw everything? Are you the logo?
Yeah. So the visionary that you're wearing, which is the eye, is made from sacred geometry. So that was in Dan's brain. Okay, so nice. Dan sat with me and Chris. Father Blissmas, bless him.
Illuminati.
Exactly. The amount of people are like, oh, fucking Illuminati. How's the devil looking? Fucking sucking dick. You're like, whoa. Do you want a t-shirt?
Yeah.
The amount of people that will kick off and go, do you want a t-shirt? Like, yeah, well, you can sell one if you want. I might wear it. It's like, you will fucking wear it, stupid. But it's from sacred geometry, and the term full reptile is, there's a lot of fighters, if you're in that world, that you'll see them go from it being like a rehearsed thing that they know how to fight to it just being absolutely raw and visceral and natural. And there's a couple of fighters out there that will go full reptile. And I don't want to do it a disservice by trying to explain it because it's Dan's logo. It's his vision. That's why I called that particular logo the Visionary. But any logo work that has come since is, like I say, we're hive brain. So I normally draw it. So I've designed most of them. Yeah. And then me and Dan will sit and fine tweak it or whatever.
Work it out.
But it's like there's a lot of people that are jealous because I work with Dan, which I can get. If I wasn't the one doing this, I'd be super jealous.
I get you.
Because hold on, we're the same age, we're into the same stuff, we're both English. Why can't I be doing that?
I don't think
I've got a shit
I'd
job.
come from an envious place because he's famous or he's done what he's done. But it's just the fact you've got such a beautiful bromance and you push each other further.
It's a cool life.
That's
exactly
something that I've always wanted. Because again, like I said at the start when I met you today,
when you get tripped up.
I've had mates in my position. We go to the pub together. It's like, oh, we started this one called From Scratch Production, where I do the film, somebody would do the audio. I knew there was a word there. I was looking for.
I'll take
always
it.
got my back. But then again, it tipped the balance, because I'd be always pushing, always on it, like your energy as well. Like, I fucking can't wait to start working with clients and getting people on.
Exactly.
And I remember we had like 12 clients, and I look back and I was like, they're all my fucking clients.
Yeah.
I'm splitting the money 3 ways, and
It's a killer, right?
I'm getting it for everyone else and going, here, work with this guy. And it's like, why am I shitting on myself so hard? So yeah, I've gone solo with it, really. But
I think...
yeah, I've got envy, you bastards.
But the thing is, you've got passion as well, because when you came to me, you came to sit with me, and it wasn't a case that I'm telling you what you're doing wrong or what you need to do differently. You're open to learn to what's a possibility.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've got a little black book that I'm really protective of, that basically, being in this industry for however many years I've been in this industry, anyone will try and fuck you as hard as they can, and they won't even buy you a drink. They will literally just double dick fuck you. And
Going raw, no lube.
raw dog, full raw dog.
Raw dog
right?
me up, you bastards.
So I've now developed. I've got this book. I mean, even like down to the socks.
yeah.
So my sock guy Rob is a fucking hero. Rob, Joe, Sarah, they all are amazing examples of how to do business. So I met this guy in Birmingham at an event, and he had a pair of Five Guys socks on a mannequin. That's what caught my eyes, because I'm a big burger guy. You know, I like cooking. I'm all about food. So I saw these burger socks and I was like, I fucking need them. I've always been into socks from having stance and having different
Do you wear
brands.
socks with your sliders then? Or flip
No. But I make
are you allowed
them.
to do that?
And well, cool kids are like
good.
Masvidal. I've sent Masvidal a pair of slides, socks and stuff.
Yeah.
Loads of fighters do it. Like around the hotel, you see them in it. But I'm a big one of. I grew up at the time when my granddad would wear sandals and socks. And I'm like,
I've always been told
fuck
that
that.
not to, but I see all the cool kids doing it. I'm like,
I can't do it, man. Same as that. I can't wear a 5-panel. I feel like a dick.
Really?
So, yeah. Same as like white socks. I don't particularly wear white socks because when I was at school, it was a no-no. That's probably there was a girl that I went to school with all the way through school, Gabby Inslee, who's a lovely girl, but she made a big thing of me wearing white socks once, made me feel like an absolute prick.
Yeah.
I'm 40 now, and I own one pair of white socks, which are the ones I make, the Raptors ones. So that's the only reason I've got them. But speaking about someone like Rob, immediately when we connected, he was dressed like a country gent, but he was fucking switched on about socks, and everything he was saying, it wasn't about trying to get me to sign up. It wasn't about trying to get me to buy in or to commit. It was just, dude, look at these fuckers and look at this and look at that. And he mirrored our rapport. So if I was swearing, he was like, oh, fucking hell, let me tell you about this guy. Let me show you these. These are seamless. These aren't going to go under your toe. This isn't going to do this. This isn't going to rip. This can do that. And I was like, what the fuck? And my mind was just blown. So I've obviously got him in this little book. But even the other day, I sent some socks off to be made. And it took them a couple of days longer than normal.
Okay.
So I got an email back, super apologetic. I'd put far too much detail into the knit pattern of these socks.
Right.
Which, if it was me and Rob, he'd have rang me and said, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This is insane. This is far too much. But all they've done up to this point is they've gone above and beyond to try and make my dream a reality without telling me how hard they're working.
Yeah.
So now this is the first time they've said no. I was like, that's all right. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But sorry for being a dickhead. And he was like, no, it's not your fault. We will always strive to be better. But on this occasion, you've put a bit too much in. But when someone's that real, and I mean, he's got a big business. He's a very, very, very successful gent. And he's got an amazing vision. But because I've got tattoos and a scruffy beard and I say twat and stuff, it's not like he doesn't answer the phone. He answers immediately. And when I'm saying, oh, mate, can we do this? He's like, I've got something even better for you. I've developed this new thing. I'm going to send it out. You'll fucking love it. And for me, when you can protect that little black book and you can avoid those people fucking you over, because it's scary to see how many people will try and fuck you over. And that's why when you came, there was someone else that came the same day. And I will always try and guide people just to avoid some of the the higher caliber shitheads, because it's like if you go on fucking, I don't know, Vistaprint. If you want to buy some business cards, if I say to most people in the high street, do you know what Vistaprint is? Most of them will know. But they're dog shit.
Yeah.
Same as Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah.
Or my experience with Vistaprint, should I say, has been dog shit. Fruit of the Loom, when we were kids, you saw that in the back of a label, you thought it was good. It's actually fucking... I don't rate it at all. I think it's terrible. But it's trying to educate other people that are going to drop into that trap. Because a lot of this industry is driven by price.
Yeah.
So you're going to get an email of someone saying, oh, you want T-shirts, you want merch, you want bags. Oh, yeah, I can do it for £1 a shirt. But what that means is you have to buy 20,000. And when you're a small independent that's trying to work out and get to where you're getting on your own, yeah, £1's all right. But when you've got to commit to 20 grand and you've only got one design on one shirt, which is fundamentally dog shit, you're only going to sell it once. You're not going to get any repeat business. You've not got any tag in it. It's just all shit.
And I think you have to be open to it, though. You have to listen. You have to sort of navigate the way you want to. But with an open mind.
Yeah.
Because there must be so many people that are like, just yeah. Listen to everything you say, but it's like, yeah, but it's cheaper, so we will go with it. Nobody will notice. It's like, man. No, I've been here, I've lived through it, I've been to the other side, I've seen what happens. I'm just telling you. And I will always listen, and I will always take that time out to think about what we really want and what we're about. And I think people would get a lot further in life if they just listened.
Yeah.
If they just took it on.
Well, it's selling the dream, but it's the story again, because like if I was to tell you the rise and fall of other brands that I've been involved in, and the bits that I've taken away from that to make sure that this is forever.
Similar stories start cropping up.
Yeah, super similar. And for me, like what I was telling you earlier, there's always something that makes things pop. So there's something that people will strive for. So you're what, 27?
Yeah.
I'm 39. So there's like 10 years between us. So when I was at school, it was all about a pair of kickers. Kickers was fucking huge. You know, with the red bottom and the green bottom shoes. Kickers. Joe Bloggs came in and out for a little bit, not really doing a lot.
No, he didn't do much for us either. I remember him though.
There was Reebok Graphite Hexlite Pump. There was Nike Arachi first time around, black and whites. There was certain elements, but there wasn't Nike like there is now, or Adidas, where you can go in Sports Direct and get it for 15 quid, or it was free with a Happy Meal. A pair of Nike were they were up here. They were on the biggest pedestal. So for me, I remember certain things blowing up that I was desperate for. But then when you look at what you were into when it was 10 years afterwards, you're in the same boat as my little brother Rich, that he was desperate for Pokemon Gold, or he was desperate for an N64 with fucking this or that. And it's always the same. It's just a different focus. So for me, when it came to brands, it was always about higher quality. Everything has to be above and beyond. It has to be the best you can do. I'm not saying that t-shirt couldn't be better, because perhaps it could, but I know it's as good as I could get it at the time.
Is that what you think like Nike did in them days then? Was it
quite
really
possibly
good quality?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of brands have done it, where you see the M&M Direct, the Sports Direct, the fucking TK Maxx. A lot of places will now make for that. So what happened initially was, if you make a lot of something, it would either sit in an outlet or something. So like Superdry. Back in the day, Superdry was fucking massive and had everyone's respect and was brilliant and beautiful and everyone loved it.
Yeah.
What's happened now is they've made that much of it that they've got enough outlets that when your mum or my mum go in there, they're not cool kids.
No.
I'm not saying they're duds, but they're not cool kids. So if your mum goes into Superdry and picks up a hoodie, she doesn't go, that's fucking horrible. She goes, oh my God, that should be 80 quid and it's 25. That's bloody thick. I bet my kid like that. I think I'll have one myself. So then before you know it, she's walking down the street in her Superdry, whatever. And I'm walking past her and I'm like, wow, that's fucking bubble. The bubble's burst.
Mine's going now.
Do you know what I mean? And it's all about that perception. And
perception's a big thing, isn't it?
So exactly. So what happened was, people would make enough, but if they didn't sell it, it'd go into an outlet, or it'd go into M&M, or to Direct, Sports Direct, or into like TK Maxx, or Home Bargains, or wherever it goes. So
really interesting.
But it's how it filters down, because to have a warehouse full of shit that's cost you however much, sometimes you just need to clear the cost to get it back, to have a bit of money in the pot to make something new. And that happened quite a lot, because out of, let's say you do 5 designs, one of them might go astronomical, might have fucking sold 1 million, but the other 4 no one really liked. So unless you're somewhere like Supreme that has basically got a monopoly on the drop.
Yeah.
And they've made this subculture of like Thursday, 11 a.m., everything's coming out. If you're not there, you don't get it. You're pretty much not one of the cool kids. And they did a collaboration with Smurfs yesterday, which is cool because I remember the Smurfs. But there's going to be some kid somewhere with his mum's credit card buying a T-shirt, knowing that he can buy it for 40 and sell it for 200, and that's kind of wrong. I mean, it builds desire, but that's going to explode and pop soon. Whereas when you look at the people that they put stuff into like different outlets and things, it kind of cheapens that brand to a degree, because there's always the Forever. So the Forever is the Nike swoosh, or the Forever is the Adidas trifoil. But you know, the one that's got like Adidas with Kermit the Frog in, that's not always on the website because it's not their Forever logo. But you can always rely on that logo, the original. So whenever you step out of your lane, if it's either on swimming trunks or trainers or fucking goggles or glasses, there's always a bit that might not work, but they've got an out because they've got enough money behind them to pump it into something else.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Whereas for me, I was always about making something that is super, super quality and the best I could do at the time. And by enforcing that, I think you build more of a lifestyle. It's not necessarily about, I'm not trying to sell anyone. Whenever I put anything on Full Reptile or wherever I go, you don't have to buy fuck all. But if you want to be part of this, if you want to be involved, then at least I know if you buy a pin badge, or if you buy socks, or if you buy your friend a key ring, or if you buy a T-shirt, the experience from start to finish is above and beyond a cool experience.
So much more real for me. Much more real.
But it's only through personal experience. It's only because I'll buy something from somewhere and they'll put a bag of Haribo in there, or like they've. Even down to one of my friends, he had a brand and basically sent me a box and it had some dog treats in it because he knows how much I think of my dogs. So it's like, I sent this for the boys. Now that broke my heart. That like in a nice way. That to me is the most important thing, because you're constantly dancing with these people, but trying to dance at the same time with 1,000 people is very doable. But you've just got to know where to hold and where to move. Whereas if you think that you can...
Song in that, isn't
there's
there?
Definitely, man. But if you think you can just freestyle it and keep everyone happy, ultimately you're going to upset someone. But the problem is with the stack it high, sell it cheap model, going back to your previous question, you get people like Nike that now don't necessarily put the same amount of time and money and investment into making everything perfect for the Nike website. They'll go, all right, well, let's call it a 60% for TK Maxx, 65% for M&M Direct, and then making cheaper shit. So like you might go to Aldi and the special buy that week might be a pair of Nike trainers. So you recognize the swoosh, but they're not a pair of Jordan 6s that are boxed worth 300 quid. They're just a pair of generic Adidas dog shit.
But
do you know what I mean?
With this as well, for me, it's like I've got a story behind it. When I'm out at the gym and I'm talking to people, straight away, as soon as they're like, oh, I quite like that logo, it opens up a doorway. And we're connecting and we're having a conversation. I'm like, yeah, this is how this started. This went here. This did that. It's the same with our merch. Like, it's just the logo. If I see somebody out in it, or like my mate always reps it to the gym and somebody randomly asked him, like, where'd you get that? And they're wearing it. And you just go up to them and you start connecting on that level.
But that's beautiful. That's the organic thing.
Truly started a family orientation towards it, and it feels that way. And that's kind of how I want my clothing to be. I want it to be an experience. That you see me a lot of the time with a bucket hat on, loud stuff, bright stuff, and I see everyone at the gym with like just a top with nothing on black. But I want it to be an experience. I want to walk out and people talk about it, and we share each other's experiences of
Without
clothing.
a doubt, man.
And I think it wants to be more than just get it on, looks all right, go. I want it to be something other, and that's what this does.
Well, that's one of the things, and that's where Dan always reminds me of something I said, which is it'll do, won't do.
That's such a good saying,
Just because, like... And I've been in there, and I've been stood next to someone that's packing something, printing something up. And I think
it's self-opposite to my dad's motto, which is like, it's good enough for what we're doing.
Exactly.
But Dad, and that happened. Can I tell you about the? Is it awning?
Awning, yeah.
He built that awning, and then the fucking corrugated metal flies off, smashes the bus window. I'm the cunt that's got to pay for it all.
So it won't do.
It's not good enough for what we're doing with Belland.
And that's it. And that's, I think, from my dad, because my dad's a joiner, like, I can't sing his praises highly enough, but the shit that he can do, and to stand back as a kid. I mean, all I ever wanted was my kids to be proud of me.
Yeah.
So I was always at school, the whole time at school, saying, I want to be a joiner and builder. I want to be a joiner and builder. I want to be a joiner and builder. Got to 15, my dad was like, you don't want to be a fucking joiner. What are you on about? And I was like, well, you are. And he was like, yeah, but... And he was self-employed. He was like, mate, it's a fucking struggle. You'll do it, but it's a struggle. And he was really good. And that was all he ever wanted. So he taught me out of it. So that's when I went into art and design.
Sick.
Because I was like, oh, well, I can either do a bit of drama. Because I did a lot of acting and drama and shit like that.
Actor.
It was just telling stories.
Brilliant.
But it's telling stories, do you know what I mean?
I watched today the trailer we did with Sam. For those that don't know, me and Owen actually...
That's how we met.
How long ago is that?
It was... I was probably 22.
No, I was going to say 10 years, but fuck that.
Yeah, probably 17 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. And,
I'd say probably.
And that film, I remember you so well from that, man. I came over, read the script with you even. I was at Sam's house. I had to get pet talked from my parents. Like, you do know you're paying a fat kid that gets bullied again.
Mate, that's what... You imagine. So, bear in mind, I went to Sam's... Stacey had just passed a driving test, and I made her drive. Fucking gone to her head. But it was one of them where she'd just passed a driving test, and I was like, well, let's go to Sam's. And he lived in Denby, but we went all the way through Little Eaton and all the back roads. It's fucking horrible. And she did it. She got there. She's fucking fuming with me. But we walked in, and Sam had this, I can't remember if it was a laptop or like a word processor, because it was a long time ago. And he went, oh, I've written a film. I was like, what the fuck are you on about written film? Because he's obsessed with film. And I was like, okay, fair enough. He's the type of person that used to get a Region 1 DVD, which meant it was an American DVD. You couldn't play it in a British player. And he'd watch all the behind the scenes, he would overdose. So he said, basically, we've written this film. You're a prick. I was like, okay, take that. He said, there was me.
Born.
Exactly, yeah, me, Dom, Deck, Lee. So... There was Sam was directing and producing and all the rest of it. Ollie was doing sound, which is his brother. Then me, Dom, were childhood friends. Lee was his other really good friend. So we cast, and we got even people from fucking Deck from Ireland.
Oh, man.
Ross came over, Lewis, loads of people, and it was like a little family.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I bunked off work for 2 weeks because we did it in Lower Kilburn, above that shop, above the little
One Stop.
Yeah.
I know.
So we did it above that, right? And bear in mind, I was smoking at the time, just smoking cigarettes, and like didn't have any kids.
I love that you have to justify.
Yeah, it's weird, man, because it's like, well, I was having a joint, was you? No. I wasn't doing any of that naughty stuff. So I was because I stopped smoking before we had kids, because it was the rule. Like Stacey said, do you want to have a baby? I went, fucking come at me. She went, you've got to stop smoking. So if you stop smoking, we can have all the sex. And I was like, amazing. So literally flicked them out. We did it once, and she was pregnant. I was like, what? So I kind of got fucked over, but it was for good reason. So with that in mind, we went to do this film. So I had 2 weeks off work. I said I fell down the stairs or whatever the fuck I'd said. And my teacher, Claire Eaton, bless her, she was an absolute sweetheart. She kept ringing me, are you everything all right? And I'm like, action. I'm like, what was that? It's just telly. So I did this film, and it was all lads, apart from a couple of girls that were coming in and out. And so it was very, very, very fucking macho, boisterous, fucking piss taking, just being absolute arseholes to each other. And then that's what it was. It was full in between us. So we just fucked with each other for like, I don't know, at least 2 weeks. And then it wasn't till afterwards when Sam then was like, we need to do the cutaways or like the extra scenes that explain the background. And obviously you were my little brother. But you were my little brother that our mum fucking adored.
Yes.
And didn't you have a little mate? There's a little mate.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, he was your little mate.
My little buddy.
And then we went up to Duffield Bank, and there was this really big house that we fucking put a telegraph pole in.
Yeah.
We fucking did all this stuff. And it was the first time we met you. And then Sam sort of passed me the script. And the first thing I had to do, I can't remember if I had to swear at you or punch you.
Yeah.
You had to you threw a rolling pin at me.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he said, we've got to hit him with a baseball bat. Yeah. I'm 22, 23. You were like a tiny, the
7,
happiest little
6,
Cartman-looking kid I've ever fucking seen.
You got it.
And I was like, oh God, what the fuck are we going to do here? So basically, and this happened a lot. Sam had a lot of creative concepts, but not necessarily always because he said to me,
I got wrote into his script because he knew a fat little kid down the road.
Precisely. Yeah.
He's like, I know a kid.
Well, I can remember on the trailer, you'll see me go over a wall off a BMX. I'm on a push bike, and my real brother kicks me over a wall. Because when we got on set, he said, I need you to hit that curb and fall off. I don't know if you've ever tried to fall off a bike by hitting a curb. It's fucking solid.
Oh, man.
So I was like, I don't want to hit a curb. And no. I says, watch this. I took my brother to one side. I said, Will, as we bump this curb, I need you to look like you're kicking me. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like flying along, and he kicks me, and I just go straight over this wall. It was fucking gold. Sam came over, big hug, dude, that's the best thing I've ever seen. I was like, well, your idea was dog shit.
Yeah.
So then when he said afterwards, and was it the cutaway for doing like my background, we said, okay, well, we need to hit Mikey with a baseball bat. I was like, he's fucking tiny, man. He's big, but fucking tiny, man. Like, I'm an adult, technically. So I literally lay the bat down my arm. And I got Sam to stand over my shoulder, and I literally just tried to launch it. It hit you, and you played an absolute blinder. You went forward like a rocking chair and just rolled. And as you watch the trailer, you'll see it, and it's like, I can't remember if you called me a dirty slut or something.
His pregnant mum, the dirty slut.
That's it. Shut your fucking hole. Straight from the courtroom.
Oh, it's like we never stopped.
That's it. But the problem is, that was all them years ago. And it wasn't until Sam said, Mikey he's grown up. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, he can drive and do all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
he's a poet. I was like, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was saying before.
Genuinely, like, moments from that part of my life give me so much energy and confidence, really. Like, I was such a battered up little kid, I've blocked out a lot of childhood because I fucking hated it. Like, the bullying, I didn't have much love in the home, to be honest. There was no guidance, so I was really struggling, but I had a big personality because all I was shouting out was like, please, someone love me. Just somebody look at me, just please. And the fact that Sam got me on for that role, and even though it was like being fat or anything like that, I understood it was a role, and I got so much confidence from that. I was
amazing.
Going to school and I was talking about it, and it really did set me on a path of like just something else.
Mate,
I never felt that before, so I really do owe a lot to Sam and you guys for that moment.
Well, it's one of them. Even when you watch programs now, and you know when someone is cast for being a fucking ugly bastard, and you're how have they put that in the paper? And you've been like, ugly cunt wanted, gonna be abused. You're like, really? Like, how'd you?
But still, it meant. Yeah, it meant something to me because it's like, fuck it. If I'm the fat kid that everyone picks on at school, at least I'm doing it for
fucking
a purpose.
Watch this,
at least I'm going to own this role. I'm going to do it. And my mum and dad and everyone's like, yeah, but this is what's got you into such depression. And this is like, but I'm like, fuck, no, I want the role. I want to be in this film. Like, let me do it.
I think, but that comes down again to it's the story behind it, or the listening, or trying to understand. Like, the thing is, what's really difficult is, or even hard to admit, is it's harder to understand your own kids than other people. Like, I've always been able to connect with people. I've always been able to appease people, or be able to work out what they're actually needing. So, like, if I can remember going to a house party, and this person had a pool, and they had one little kid with them who was an absolute arsehole. And I was like 16, and he was, say, 11. But I immediately picked up on what his problem was, and he was just looking for attention. So I managed his interaction slightly different to the rest.
You're a chameleon like that.
But you can pick
something there.
Yeah, same as you.
That's a big ability, man.
But you can pick it up, and I think the minute you can pick that up, and you can understand what someone's screaming out for without saying it. It's easy, because Stacey will put me to one side sometimes because she's a lot better with the girls. Because I try and work that, because the thing is, they're very similar. Like, my brain is fucked as it is, but hers it's a lot more in tune with the girls. So don't get me wrong, I love them more than anything, and we get on really well. But there are times I'm like, are you fucking with me? Like, what is happening? And I think there'll be times where we'll go to a house party, and then someone's got like 15 kids, and they're jumping all over me, having a load of fun, fucking loving it, just a mess around. But then my kids don't always know how to relax into that.
Yeah, I get you.
So I have to then initiate something to let them know it's okay, because I can pick up on those tiny little bits. Like we went on holiday, and we're in like these little villages, these little like Flintstone cottages, only in Mallorca. And so Stacey's mum and dad always come with us because it's really nice. Her parents are super supportive. They probably know more about me than my entire family, and have supported me from day one. So basically, you've got Steve and Jane in their little chalet, as here next door, and then on the front there's like 11 kids, and they're all with their own brother or sister, which they don't particularly like. You know what it's like going on holiday. I didn't want to be with my fucking sister. She didn't want to be with me, but together we were forced, because it's like, well, don't go anywhere. So I've got them all sat there. All the parents are sat on the front just fucking watching, and I was like, go and ask them if they want to play. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, fuck it, come on, man. Let's go. So I just fucking ran over and,
we were the same people, man.
Come here. And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, and I look at the parents and go, I'm not a stranger. They're my kids. And they're like, all right. So I call them over and go, like, do you know how to play Bulldogs? And they're like, what the fuck is Bulldogs? Like, all right, everyone that side. And they all fucking run off and they stand there and they're all like looking dead nervous. And I'm like, you need to get to that side without me taking you down. And they're like, what's a takedown? I'm like, watch this. Moo run at me, and she'll run full bollocks. I just slam her down, and she's like, okay, that's my dad. And you can tell that immediately she's got this like, okay, yeah, I can do this. So then we play Bulldogs, but then I'll slowly take myself out of the picture. And the thing is, that for me is way more important, to know that they're having a wicked time, or they've got a memory, or they've got something that might help them one day if they need to approach someone. So like, even if they're on the side of the road and they're broke down and they fucking need to ask someone for help or a phone or something.
These are the biggest skills now, though.
That's what you fucking need, man.
Yeah, 100%. That's what we were talking about earlier. Then people that went to uni and have all these like information-based things in the head, but the connecting, the networking, the reaching out. These are the skills we really need to start teaching people.
I just want it to
enforcing, I was going to say, but I was like, it's a bit much.
Well, I just want it to be organic. But you know, like, if you had a thing where when kids were in school and you're like, okay, sell me that, and they're like, what? Just sell it me. Tell me about the features. Tell me about this and that, or just strike up an organic thing, or just make something up. And that was always my thing. I didn't give a fuck about standing up in front of people. I didn't give a fuck about talking. I don't particularly care what people think of me, because I'm not trying to impress anyone. Like what I was saying earlier about being...
Listen in, boys and girls. You could fucking learn from this.
But I'm not... I understand if people are envious of my relationship with Dan and the Collective, because I feel I'm really fucking fortunate to get the role that I've got. However, at the same time, it goes a lot deeper than that. Me and Dan have been working together for a long time. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of work with him. I've done a lot of stuff for him in the past. We've had different conversations, and it was just all born out of an organic idea of like, hey, why don't we try something? Now, that didn't mean that there was a massive cash injection or someone just like, here's a load of money. It was basically, I was even talking to someone the other day, like he had all the gear at his house, which is in Leicester. And if I had an order, I had to process the orders at home, put them in separate carrier bags. So that's called the script. This is the bullet. Yeah. If you've ordered a large or medium script, that's gone in that bag. Bullets. And so I've got like 8 carrier bags.
Right, okay.
Run into Dan's house, make all the stuff, print it all up, then take it home, pack it and post it. So it was massively disjointed and it wasn't an ideal scenario. But what I take from that is it was a fucking brilliant foundation and an even cooler story.
And you've earned your position.
For real.
You've earned your position in what you're doing.
And it is natural initially to feel like, yeah, I'm not really a designer, I'm not an editor, I'm not a this, I'm not worthy. But the thing is, I know that there's not a lot of people that could step in and do what I do. And I don't need to remind myself of that because the boys will tell me, like, they've got my back. Yeah. So we are a little family. Yeah. But the cool thing is it's kind of always encouraged. And I think the more that you can encourage someone, if it's either healthy eating or exercise or trying or designing, like when you came to my office, I wanted you to see everything I've created just so that you have a handle on what's available.
So fucking inspiring, it really was.
But that's all I wanted you to take from it, and that's not for me to have an ego. It's more a case of like, look, you can go with Aldi or you can go with Waitrose. Yeah. There's a massive line in between, but there's nothing wrong with Aldi. And there's nothing wrong with Waitrose. But if you know where you need to be, you will not stop till you get there. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
And I think I mean, the biggest thing for me is everything's always been a hustle and a deal. So like, if you looked under my telly at one point, there was an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Switch, a this, and this. Nothing was paid for. It was all done via a deal. So like, the PS3 was swapped for a DS that I had or a PSP that I didn't play anymore. Yeah. So Joe, a guy I used to work at Egg with, didn't want that. I didn't want that, so we did a swap. So now I've got a PlayStation 3. Same as the Xbox. That was a swap because I cleared someone's garage out because they didn't want to go to the tip and they didn't know how to, and I had a van. So I did that deal for him. Same as the telly. The telly was my brother-in-law's that he was getting rid of because he's had an upgrade. So actually he needed to get rid of it quick, but he did it me cheap. So everything's always a hustle and a deal.
Yeah.
So when I was working with Dan and even building other brands and other companies, I would still have to go, someone go, have you got a keyboard at home? I'm like, yeah, I'll bring it in. So I'm taking all my gear from home. Yeah. It's like, if you think about it, a keyboard for a PC is what, £6, £5? Not a lot. But I was the one always fulfilling that empty hole. So it's like, we need 2 monitors and a keyboard. I'm like, all right, well, I'd end up making someone a fucking website for this extra shit. Or I'd go to Sam, get a load of stuff off him, but then I feel like I'd owe him one. But these people have got millions of pounds. But it's like, oh, I don't suppose you've got one of them, have you? It's like, all right. So I would do that. Microwaves, fridges, fucking kettles, you name it. I was making this office a working, functioning hub. But it wasn't both ways. So then when I started working with Danny, he was like, oh, what do you need? I was like, oh, no, nothing, don't worry about it. He's like, the fuck are you on about? What do you need? I was like, can I have something? And he's like, what the fuck? What?
I like this pen.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to write.
I'm really into Chewits. Don't know if you like the tropical ones. But it was, and then because he trusted, well, it's just trust. I don't think it's just Dan trusting me, but it's trust in general. When you've got that connection with someone and you're not out to fuck someone over or to take advantage or to steal or to take, he was just like, yo, like, what will make that easier? I'm like, well,
if makes it so much
if we had one of these
long lasting though, it makes it organic, but it goes on forever because you're not basing each other on like who's going to get the most, how much can I shaft this person here.
Exactly.
And the first time, like, you think shafting somebody's doing you well because it's the first initial like, oh, I've just fucking done him for like £200, what a cunt. But like later on the line, that's it, I've learned from somebody else that I could have got this done here for this price, and then I've made that connection over there now because somebody's tried to do a little quick one on you.
Exactly.
It doesn't last for long.
And money means fuck all. Yeah, it's horrible because the problem is it's unfortunately a token for a deal. It's almost like a I owe you, you owe me.
It could be money, but even like, with the merch and stuff, if somebody's giving you shit, like with little rips on it, they're just throwing it at you, they don't give a donkey's where it's been and what it's doing.
That's bad, right?
It's just like, I'm not going with you again, mate. 100%.
And all I've said to the most people that I've ever worked with, because the problem... I've normally been introduced to someone because someone else knows me and said, this guy, I'll look after you.
You'll like this guy.
Exactly.
It's an experience, but you're going to fucking love it.
Well, they either, they see me and they either get it quick or they don't fucking like it. And it's, I normally win most people over, and I'm not saying I'm an absolute fucking prick, but I would tell people straight.
Yeah.
So if someone's got like a logo, I'm like, well, that's not going to work, or that's no good because there's this, and this, or like, they've really worked on something and they're desperate to keep trying to bring their thing back in. I'm like, bro, this is shit. This is this is not going to help you in any way. So let's redevelop that. And they fucking hate it. But
realness in your life, though.
Yeah. But I had 3 designers. So there was Matt Whaley, Rich Page, and Gemma Bradley, who were at Egg, and they're part of the internal agency. And basically, they had, because I use Illustrator and Adobe Suite now, but there was something called Fireworks, which was like an early web development program. And I was using it, and I was terrible. But I'd go and show them, like, super proud, like, can we put this on the fridge? And they go, wank, fuck off. I'm like, okay. And it's all I ever needed. Amazing. And because, I mean, I'm still close to them now, and I know I could ring them and ask them anything. But they never did it for a reward, and I never.
Shit if your life is just full of like nodding dogs.
Yeah,
mate. You're doing great, and it's like I'm never gonna fucking get anywhere if I keep spinning over here and
exactly. And you're not doing it like one of my mates was like, God, aren't they bothered with you pestering them? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll ask them. They can. I don't suppose they'd say it's shit if they didn't want me to come back.
Yeah.
So then I go back and be like, lads, is this all right? They're like, well, fucking no problem. But everything, every fundamental that I learn as far as graphics, logos, branding, all that shit started with those guys. It was manifested through people like Tony, who's the tattooist at Ink Kings, people like Matt Carroll, who introduced me to Wayne, and then you've got people like Chris Bliss, who the guy who I've been working with when we were at Ratchet, who genuinely is one of the greatest designers I've ever seen. But the most humble person ever. If I said that into him now, he'd be like, fuck off, shut up. But his vision and the way he sees things, but I think that's the universe giving back to me, because you might not be the best, but you know the fucking best, and you know how to deal with it. So it always comes down to like just trying to have a go and making sure that something is a forever thing. So like you can stack stuff high and sell it cheap. You can name half a dozen brands that you've seen go poof, poof, and then they've come and gone, and you almost don't acknowledge that they've gone. But then it's like Ellesse. You know, when Ellesse and Fila and Sergio Ticini was big at the time, back when I was at school. So 1997, I had a pair of Ellesse shoes, and that was fucking a bit of a...
Yeah.
But then they went to shit, so they lost. But what happened was they went into the underground, no one missed them, no one forgot them. Then they waited till the people who yearned for that gear, which was me at, say, 16 in 1997, they give it 10 years or 20 years to when this person is now earning money to look back and go,
I get you.
Fucking Ellesse is back.
Hey, mate, this
all
is like,
day.
Toy Story did that. Do you know how they followed that recipe? Because first it's a kid's film and it's got kids, but then it starts being more adult themed through time.
Without a doubt.
Growing with the children.
But the children are growing up to then relate to, because then by the time 4's out, they've already got their own kid who's got their Woody or their Buzz.
Got, like, death and things like that in it. And you're like, oh, this is speaking to me. So you're playing it to your kids, but you're like, this is what actually appeals to me. And you're growing with it.
But that's the forever brand. Like, everything's a brand. Everything. So religion's a brand. Fucking...
Society,
everything. Well, you look at it, right? So like a made-up story about something that no one can prove has got people that will fucking commit their life to. That's a strong fucking brand. And there's not even like you can meet the fucking founder. It's not like I met Joe Rogan in Vegas and it was insane. It was like one of the most amazing, and it was just because I've watched him from Fear Factor. I watched everything he's ever done, and I will put him down to be like, he's taught me quite a lot of stuff, because if you've got a podcast that he's talking to someone that I don't know, I'll still watch it. And then I'm going to learn something. I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm learning this stuff.
Great dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a solid guy. But then when we met him, not only did we meet him, he then gave us front row tickets to his show that night, which we were sat next to Aerosmith. So the whole thing is insane. But he wasn't a prick about it. And he was protecting his forever brand, because it's not like I said, oh mate, your shit's amazing, you taught everyone, shut up, no, it's not. He was like, thanks a lot, man, I really appreciate you saying that, because he obviously didn't have the easiest life, and I don't think he aced everything. He was heavily into taekwondo and stuff like that, so he was quite a disciplined and focused child. I don't think he had a lot of extra activities that he was doing other than taekwondo, because I know when he hit about 17 he was like, hold on a minute, there's beer. And he was like, and then sort of like not fell off a wagon, but got into that. And when you look at certain brands like, I don't know, say Paul Smith, Armani, Givenchy, these things that are high quality forever brands, they've always been around. You don't see a sale, you don't see them trying so hard for you to fucking sign up to it. They're just good shit that everyone wants. So when I say I want to make cool shit for cool people, it's not that I need it to be fucking silly expensive and no one can afford it. I want everyone to be able to be part of the cool club, but at the same time, I want them to love what's gone into it and know that. And if they wanted to ring me and say, dude, what made you do this? I've got all the time in the world to tell them. And whatever it's the size it is, I can afford to do that. Like the amount of conversations I have with different customers that we've had, or even people that are massive fans of Dan, they know they can reach him through me. So the amount of times I say, oh, dude, can you just ask him this question? I'm like, of course I can. And then I'll text him the answer. And they're like, ask him this. I'm like, dude, next time I see him,
this is not a game for you.
Give me a list.
Not performing monkey.
Exactly. But if I was buying some clothes from the Hundreds, which is a streetwear brand, Bobby Hundreds, which is, if you get to listen to his audiobook, it's phenomenal. But they basically do the same thing. They make their own clothes and obviously got their own lifestyle brand. But Bobby Hundreds is actually a photographer. But the fact that he puts himself out there to show what he's interested in and what he's managed to make and how his brand has developed to what it's got to, and he puts it down to being quite fortunate and he knows that he's putting a lot of effort and passion in, so he gets a lot out. Whereas I think when some people see this magic juju coming out of a t-shirt, they're like, oh, just here's £1 million, make it 2 million. You're like, fuck off, you greedy prick. You've got 1 million, you're all right. Just like next person.
The thing is, your brand's very personable though, isn't it? It brings the people towards it. And I've had, again, friends that have just gone cheap and cheerful and just thrown it out there, and they've not built a story. Like you on your Instagram, you're all together, you're a team, people are sharing it, you're sharing their stories, they care about you and you care about it, so that emanates and that builds. And then there's people that think just because I've bought something out, it warrants to just go and it should like just pick up and start going. It's like, no, there's a fucking whole journey behind this piece of art that you're going forward with.
Well, you have a weird experience as well with people like influencers. It started out, obviously I've worked with people, quite a few Z-listers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even through choice necessarily, but it was people like Geordie Shore people, X Factor people, the Voice.
And here's Susan Boyle.
But even people like Terry from X Factor 2011. If I showed you a picture now, you wouldn't even know who the fuck he was. But you get some people that are entitled, other people that are super grateful. And it was always interesting. It's like if I send a care package out to people, I'll often send a care package out, but I don't ever say, can you post this 7 times and tag me in it and say thank you? I just, basically, if there's someone that I like, I want them to be wearing my shit. So when you took that, I was like, yo, see what you think to this dude. Because I know you give me not positive, I know you give me feedback. So if you like it with the label's itchy, or if you like it with the sleeves are too short, it's that little bit of feedback.
Well,
but I know
that one thing I wear, and my missus always goes, "You look fucking hot today."
There you go. See?
Every day.
That's it. I just got to bring some more. Just keep bringing them
every time.
But the difference is that's a wicked feedback for me because home life, knowing that home life's good. That's the most important thing.
Good. We got a baby on the way, boy.
A baby coming. So for me, that's a solid deal. But then you get this other side of it where it's kind of a weird thing because like the social side of things again, you'll put something out and people like to feel that they're supporting you. So some people, they can be quite fake. So like when, even at Ratchet, we had, I think it's about 500,000 as a follower on Facebook. And that's, the algorithms changed and it kind of fucked us a bit. Because at one point we could take a picture of like me and you now and go, and there was like 5,000 likes. And then we'd go take a picture, put it on, and there was like 70. And you go, we've got 500,000 people that like this.
What happened?
It was the algorithms. Facebook changed it so then they could charge you for advertising. But the problem was, it wasn't just like, okay, put it back to normal, I'll pay £100 a month. It was like, so do you want this demographic or this demographic? It's like, which one was the original? It's like, well, you've got to choose. And it was almost like that game show Nightmare as a kid. It's like, take 4 steps forward and pick up the chicken. It was wank. So it kind of killed it. But you could still talk to your audience. And the kind of frustrating thing is, and this is where you want to start calling people out because it's personal to you, is you'd put a design out. And the method that we always work with, and even that I employ now, is let's make one. See if you like it. Because that brings in the whole TK Maxx and M&M Direct story again. Because there are stuff that I'm always in TK Maxx. I love Le Creuset cookware. I can't afford it from the shop, so I buy it from TK Maxx. All of my water bottles, cutlery, all that cool shit, get it from TK Maxx. Swimming shorts, I go to TK Maxx. Underwear, TK Maxx. I got no problem with buying last year's season. I got no fucking problem. But I also know there's a certain core group of people that like to be up to date and have new cool shit. And we're not that far price different that people can't have one or the other, if that makes sense. But what you'll do is you'll put a message out there to go, oh, this one's going to be available soon. And you'll get so many people going, just bought mine. Or just bought mine. And these people having a conversation on your story.
That's it.
Saying they're buying it. And you haven't sold one. And you go, which fucking website have you been to? And the problem is, there are dark days when, like, you might not have had a sale that day. And when someone starts saying that, it can turn you into this fucking bit of a angry old bastard that's like, why the fuck are you lying? Like, they're lying to try and come across that they're being supportive and all that, but it does more damage. And if you really want one, just ring me. But it's really hard to manage, because even like the message I told you earlier, I always want to kind of be positive, but the problem is my personality comes out. It will always come out. That when we first had descriptions, when I first made the website, I put a description on every single product, and a few of the group were just like, dude, we can't write this. And I was just waxing lyrical with some mad shit about, I think the espresso cup. That might be still be the same one. I said, this rad cup is a baby brother to the big one, and you can either stand in the mirror and look like a fucking giant, or if you want to transport water from one place to another really slowly. And so to me, that was like
a most Owen response to
exactly.
anything, yeah.
But I had that on every single product.
Here's a piece of me.
Yeah. So me and Dan sat and just in hysterics, reading these stories like this one, read the long sleeve polo shirt, and he's fucking losing his mind, and then the lads saw it and they're like,
stop, man.
It's like when you tell your mum your business plan when you're 11. I'm gonna do this and take everything. Like, okay.
And the shoes are gonna be springy, and then they're gonna like go into the water and evaporate.
Yeah, so I soon got shut down, and the problem is I've still got them, but I just dig that. Like, I'm so grateful for things like WhatsApp, just because it's not even that it's free, or that you can send someone a dick pic, or you can see someone's boobs. Don't get me wrong.
I thought I've had a few random pics off you recently.
There's the odd one. It's good for when you're trying to justify your vasectomy.
What do you think to my top? And then they bottom off.
Yeah, literally nothing. Oh man. So the reason that I like the WhatsApp side of things is, now we've started seeing things like Making a Murder on Netflix. You only actually break that down into being like, so these people followed this guy for 11 years, knowing they had a piece of gold, to then edit, to make it, to get it to Netflix, even though, spoiler alert, it's not got an end yet.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking story, the fashion
Big
changes
story.
that they went through, the fashion, the pop icons, the culture, the industry, the amount of changes in that 11 years, even how they looked. And I mean, I'm nearly 40, and I like to think I look better now than I did when I was fucking 30, but it's easy because I've got a beard. But
everything gets better with a beard.
That's because it's this year, but next year it might be gone and we're back in flares.
Hey.
But I kind of like them stories, and when they unfold, so like it's quite an epic story tell. And the fact that I've got WhatsApp now, and we've all been in this one full Reptile group as like a bit of a secret group at first. You go back and you look at the stories, you're like, look, remember when we were thinking about doing this? Oh, what about this prick? Oh, what about that story?
It's what I do with Rogan now. Even go back to his first ever video. Like, just look at that. Look at what he was up to there.
With hair. And he's advertising fleshlights.
There's one, his first podcast is literally just a shitty quality camera, and he's just stood there like, what's this? What's this shit? Like, fuck it. And he's just talking to the camera for ages, and you're like,
that's gold. Because it makes you feel like it's possible. And I think if you try and set something up half-arsed, or if you don't put everything into it, so like your guy that was at the pub when the beer's flowing, you've had a bit of a drink, and you're like, fucking hell, we're going to smash this, man. It's going to be the best. And you go,
man. Too many of them.
You've got to be up by 10 o'clock. They're like,
too many talkers.
10 o'clock.
There's a lot. I'm not being mean to just that guy, but just in general,
dude,
people that want to talk as much as they can. And it's like, you don't want this. You don't want this. There's too much behind it, and it's hard work.
Well, that's it.
Grueling.
And that's what I was saying about my own family, and it is a bit of a joke. Like, they'll go...
I am nearly pissing my pants, by the way.
Are you busting for a piss?
Yeah, I'm busting, yeah.
Do you want to wrap it up, or what do you want to do?
Would you ever come again?
I'll come as many times as you want, man.
I love you, mate.
I can't... How long have we been going?
3 hours. 3 fucking hours.
Okay, so I've had a text from my wife. Hold on. I've had 3 texts from my wife.
Wow.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Let's wrap this up.
We'll wrap this up. I didn't even realise we had 3 hours.
3 hours, motherfucker. So, Owen, you're a motherfucker.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Owen, where can people find all this stuff?
Jump on Full Reptile. So we've got Full Reptile. There's a YouTube channel.
My Nana will be watching right now, 100%. She watches them all the way through.
Oh, nice one. So Nana, what's Nana's name?
It's Bez.
Nana Bez.
Nana Bez.
Nana Bez. Thank you for watching this all the way through, and share it with your friends.
Yeah.
You can jump on fullreptile.co.uk. But then we've got our YouTube channel. The lads are in Abu Dhabi at the minute because there's a Fight Islands back on. So you got the two Raptors, Mystery and Slim, who are the absolute legends in their industry, in their field. So they're smashing it at the minute. You got Dan over there as well, and obviously the best analyst in the world.
The boy.
So basically, jump on full_reptile on YouTube. And
you know Bez is going to be repping, don't you?
Nana Bez, well, just
Nana
tell me.
Bez.
I'll get her some beanies and stuff out.
Guys, you've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, back of the bus sessions. You know exactly where to go. This guy's a fucking legend. We're going to do this again. Thank you for being here. Be nice to one another. Peace.